Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Friday edition, TGIF. Today is Friday. Hope you guys are planning and expecting to have a very happy and fun weekend down here. Well, looks like it's about thunder 30. That's when the storms roll in and then they roll out and bunch of rain. So hopefully this stream doesn't get disconnected. But just want to let you know, we're going to be doing something a little bit different on Fridays as we move through the summer, some of the slower news days. Gonna start and want to see how you guys react today. Of course, we got a ton of content about President Trump that I've got an interview at 4:30 that I want you to see that kind of dovetails off of what I'm talking about right now. So obviously President Trump is somewhere, I don't know, over Alaska or something. He's on his, I guess they came around that way. They refueled in Alaska, heading back. So he should be home praying for safety relatively soon. As soon as he gets back, there's going to be a number of things that happen. We're going to talk about one of those big things today after my interview. So stay tuned for that. That big thing that I'm referring to is Cuba. And so we'll talk about that. Obviously, we know about what's going to go on with Iran. Expect possibly maybe this weekend, things got to start going boom all over again. We'll see. But that being said, I wanted to address something. I put up a poll, and in that poll, I asked, and I wasn't being tongue-in-cheek or anything. I really wanted to see, and I said, how many people, or actually what I said is, would you do business or what did I say? Let me just check, make sure I know. Could you be friends with, or would you do business with someone who is gay? And yeah, I'm sure at this point people realize Barry puts up these polls and he's kind of going somewhere with them. And this one was just a pure question. Just wanted to know what people felt. And 90% of the people who answered said, yeah, why not? 10% of the people said, no, absolutely not. That's the problem. See, SV has already told me that he's been had to zap 3-4 trolls. I'm sure it's going to get more. And some of the people who are just maybe not too confident about hitting that no button might just disappear on their own just after what they hear what I'm going to have to say. I am a very, in case you haven't noticed it, I'm a very opinionated person. I consider myself not to have lived a sheltered life, but more of a open life, and done some things I shouldn't have done, and done some things that worked out well, both personally and business wise. Yeah, you've had business mistakes, you've had personal mistakes, but you learn from each one of them. And one of the things that I've learned because of success and because of failure is people. And I realize that people are very hard to put a label on, especially if you don't have any experience with them. I mentioned months ago that one of my, or a group of my investors in real estate were a bunch of gay women. And of course, they had, two head of household, well, I don't know how you want to call it, but they had a lot of extra money. And they used to say, hey, Barry, do you need some money to buy a house? Sure. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. They weren't trying to recruit me. They were looking to do business. And so one of the things that I've always understood personally is I am not going to agree with everything anybody says. If you've been married for 30 plus years, like I have to Robin, you don't even agree with everything your spouse says. But you develop a relationship that goes from either a first date to 30 years. And you start realizing they don't like this. Okay, they're okay with that. But at the core is what you try to find out. What's your core belief system? And when Robin met me, and I've mentioned to you the joke many a times, she said to me, "Are you a Christian?" And I flubbed that and went, "No, I'm Catholic." And as I've told you, the punchline is, "No, you're an idiot. You're a Christian." Oh, okay. I went to Catholic school in Connecticut. I didn't know anything about reborn Christians. I thought they were crazy people, and then I realized what all about that. But that was our core belief. If you're Christian and you want to be with me, we can try to work out all the other stuff as we go, because I can't get past this one. If you're not a Christian, I can't be with you. That was our codicil. That everything else we agreed, okay, this is going to be a bumpy road and we're going to bounce off the guardrails as we move forward, but I can't even move forward with you if you don't have that foundational belief. You may have different foundational beliefs for people you want to be with. And then in business, you have your foundational beliefs there as well. Do I believe what you're saying? Are you a crook? Are you on the up and up? And you meet people as you go along. Well, somewhere along the lines, the basis of what we've all grown up with, whether in sports, business, your familial relationships, there's something that's happened where some people have broken apart and are pointing at people like zombies. And they're pointing and screaming at people like zombies. And I think that is extremely detrimental to our society. Not just our country, but society at large. And obviously we know some of the crazies, the river to the sea crowd, the you need to accept being a transformer. The crowd that tries to impart their beliefs on you, not accept that you may be different. See, that's where I kind of draw the line. I don't care if you believe in Santa Claus, but don't try to make me accept that there's a Santa Claus. Hopefully I didn't blow anybody's fantasy there. Don't try to tell me I need to believe in the tooth fairy. But if you believe in the tooth fairy and you believe in Santa Claus and you're a grown-ass adult, okay, I get it. But you can't put that on me, which is one of the problems, or I guess the biggest problem I have with, the people from those countries that tell you either have to succumb to this religion or we're going to kill you. there's nothing for us to discuss at this point. If that's your line of demarcation, convert or die, we're gonna have a problem. We're gonna have to roll around in the dirt on this one. But if you want to, worship a goat, and that's what you do, I'm not going to hang with you, but I'm not looking, to do the exact same thing that the people who, scream Ali Ali Akbar do. That's on you. Barry, what the hell are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that we can't exhibit the prejudices, not just racial, the prejudices of our adversaries. And if we do, we become just like them. And I know this is, some of you guys just said, let me just get to the point. Last week, or I don't know, was it like 2 weekends ago, I went to a fundraiser, as I get invited to these things. And we got to a fundraiser, and understand me, the reason why I'm saying that is not to do any sort of flexing, because that's the foundation of what this event was. This wasn't, hey, can you come on over and hang out with my buddies? This was a fundraiser for kids. So if you've never been to a fundraiser, if you've never been to a political fundraiser or any sort of charitable fundraiser or anything of that nature, hopefully you understand the reason people go to these types of events is to do something for the benefit, be a benefactor for the kids in this regard. This one was for the Miami Dolphins, and the Miami Dolphins held a private auction, and they had, former players, and it was just awesome meeting all these guys. And it was an open, well, you had to be invited, but it was a dinner, great food. And we got to see the kids that were going to be of benefit. Well, I went, Robin and I together went, and this is what happened. I was at a Miami Dolphins fundraiser, and I met Viva Fry. We were in Miami, and as we talked, we learned we are neighbors here in Boca. He lives in a development literally 2 miles away. I never knew. This is what I was talking about, and this was yesterday's show. People may differ in thought, but may be able to have civil and enjoyable conversation. Seek out discourse with people you can speak to. See, that's the predicate. Seek out discourse with people you can speak to. I didn't say that you have to believe them. I didn't say that you have to accept what they're saying. The foundation is, can you seek out people that you can speak to, smile with, laugh, even if you don't fully agree on everything they say? That's what makes America special. Don't let them take that away from us. If they take that away from us, we're done. Forget the libtards, forget everything. If we cannot converse and enjoy human interaction, we are done. And it says, my little quip here is exploit commonality and diminish differences. And I just posted that picture of me standing next to Viva Fry. And just like in the poll I put up, 90% of the people who saw this picture like, oh, that's pretty cool. You got to meet him. And he got to meet you and your wife and his wife. We didn't speak a word of politics. We also didn't get to pick who was going to be at this event. So Robin and I showed up, fashionably late, of course. And hey, what table are we at? You're at table number 18. All right, we'll go over table 18. And I'm like, is that who I think it is that's sitting there? Is that really him? This is going to be awkward, because I've even hit him hard on X. I'm like, he and Barnes and the crazy stuff they say that I do not agree with whatsoever. And now I'm going to have to eat dinner directly across from him, never knowing that my wife was like, oh my God, that's Viva Fry. I like him. He's so cool. Traitor, be gone. And she's like, I'm like, you know Viva Fry? She goes, I watch all his stuff. Honey, he doesn't like certain things Trump likes. I don't care. And she was fangirling. And then he saw me, recognized my big behind, and stood right up, reached across the table and shook hands. And we spent the next, I don't know, hour and an hour and a half talking about everything but politics. We talked about his dogs. We talked about how he likes to hike over by the Everglades. We talked about him moving from Canada. We talked about the development he lives in. We talked about the kids who were benefiting at the event, and not one single word of politics was spoken. 10% of the people in here said they wouldn't even do business or be friends with gays. 10% of the people who commented on that post went absolutely batshit crazy. How could you? How could you possibly? And I'm like, I can discern. And so one of the reasons why I asked that question about whether or not people could be friends with gay is I wanted to let you know something, because many people don't know this. Maybe because we're down here in Florida, I wouldn't say privy, but I get knowledge of things down here that most people don't. I want you to know that one of the most esteemed conservative figures of all time really, really, really enjoyed the company of a gay man. I'm talking about none other than Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh understood that in order for us to grow as people, we could talk, we could get to know, we could even do business with people who don't have the same mindset but we're not looking to do what they do. Elton John, as you know, loved his music. I've seen Elton John many times. Elton John was a huge, how can I say this? Someone that Rush Limbaugh really enjoyed. So much so that when Rush got married, Elton John sang at his wedding. Not just sang, Rush Limbaugh paid Elton John $1 million. $1 million to come sing at his wedding because his wife loved an Elton John song. And not once during that wedding, and I'm positive of this, did Elton John ever say to Rush Limbaugh, hey man, you know, you never tried things on our side of the table. You might be, before you say I do, maybe you might want to come with me and my boys and we'll show you how it's like what we do. No, that never happened. And Rush Limbaugh never said to him, you know what? I've got some women you might want to meet and they can help you with your problem. Nope, that didn't happen. You're here to sing a song. You're here because my wife loves your music. You're here because I'm paying you $1 million. In between of all this, we can get together, listen to you sing, clap, love the music, eat some food, and then shake hands and go on our merry way. The problem is that there are people here in America, maybe even in our chat, who don't have the ability to discern, who haven't grasped the idea that, your personal experience outweighs everything you see on this app, whether it be YouTube, Twitter, X, Facebook. What you see isn't necessarily what you get. I told you yesterday, one of my good friends, really good friends from the advertising world, I told you yesterday he's going to come down and have dinner, and he's a Delaware Democrat, loves Joe Biden. And he and I are going to be sitting at a table, and Robin's going to be there, and we're going to have a great time. I already know it because we've done it many, many times. We went on his boat. I think what people have to use discernment with is understand the difference between somebody who has a different opinion versus somebody who wants to destroy your way of life. I would have no interest at all sitting someplace with AOC. I would have no interest in even going to any event where anybody on the squad is there. No interest whatsoever, because I know you hate me and hate my way of life. I can tell you specifically that Elton John and Rush Limbaugh have a similarity. They have a exploitive commonality, meaning I don't want these commies to take over. I am successful. I've earned a great living. I sing music. I make a lot of money. They had a lot of commonality. I just sleep in a different place at night than you do. Elton John wasn't trying to destroy Rush Limbaugh's way of life. Rush Limbaugh wasn't trying to destroy Elton John's way of life. Viva Frei was not trying to destroy my way of life, and I wasn't trying to destroy his way of life. Exploit commonality. Find the things that you can talk about and understand people are going to have a different opinion in everything. In about 5 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about somebody I speak to back in my days when I was covering the Miami Dolphins, and every single one of you knows a Boston Red Sox fan hates a Yankees fan. And then sometimes you make the huge mistake of marrying that person. And everything else, I said I don't necessarily agree with everything Robin says. Oh, you haven't been around when she turns on Donna Summer. Like, are you really playing disco? I had the Scorpions on. Why did you change the station on the radio? The Scorpions were playing Rocky Like a Hurricane, and you put on disco. I don't like disco. And then, hey, you like baseball? Yeah, I love baseball. Great. We're going to love this. Let's turn on a game. What are you watching? Oh, the Red Sox and the Yankees. How did you know I was a Yankees fan? Oh, my God, I picked the wrong woman. No, I didn't. No, I did not pick the wrong woman. The wrong woman didn't pick me. I don't think she feels that way anyways. She's a Yankees fan. Diehard Yankees fan. I'm a Red Sox fan. I remember the days when we would put both caps on the speakers above the television, and especially when they were playing together in the playoffs, and the other one had to wear it if the other team beat them. We didn't have anything in common whatsoever in baseball. We don't have anything in common whatsoever with music. But if anything ever happened, like right now, and I hit 911, she would come from the house flying over here like she's done for 30 years. She's got my back, I got hers. I'm not looking for that with Viva Frei. Elton John wasn't looking for that from Elton John. But you can have discourse. I think a lot more people at this point need to understand we need discourse, even with people we may not agree with. And I think that boundary, like with Robin, it was, are you a Christian? That boundary is, are you trying to destroy my way of life? That's the foundational question. Not whether you like Pam Bondi, not whether you like Kash Patel, not even if you like Trump. The foundation is, do you like America? Do you love America? Do you want to see America succeed? Well, I'm pretty sure, and it didn't come up because not one word of politics came up. I'm pretty sure he loves America because he moved from Canada to get away from the shit they're doing up there to make his home with his wife here in America. And she's a sweet woman. Her and Robin just hit it off. So that's what I just want people to understand. Things are different now. We know there's enemies out there who are trying to do the worst of things to us. And we just have to be a certain type of people to discern If you don't know what the word discern means, look it up, because that tells you that you need to have the intellectual perspective to go, this is okay. This isn't okay. And why is it okay? And why isn't it okay? 10% of you just flat out said, no, I would never do it. When, you see that, you have to wonder why. All right. So I got this interview coming up. Let me see if he's here yet. If he's in the building here. Yep, he's here. Uh-oh. My boy's here. All right, so let me get ready. Let me talk to you about one of our sponsors, and then I will be bringing him in. If you're like me and you're getting to that age where you're tired most of the time, I'm not anymore because I'm all pumped up with stuff, with Mountain Dew. You're tired, you're bloated after meal, excuse me, and no amount of water seems to help, then listen up, because recently I had all of that as well. You guys know I took kimchi, I'm doing all kinds of things to keep my energy up. And I think, I don't know what I'm going to do next week with one show or two show, but I'm going to see how I feel. I was told to contact Dr. Josh for some information, educate me. I told him what was going on, and his response kind of shocked me, especially after I played ball for so long. He said I was showing all the telltale signs of a dehydrated liver. I have 2 of these giant cups sitting in front of me, and I thought just by drinking water, I would be fine. I need to drink more water. That's what I kept thinking. He told me that was actually just part of the problem. You see, most people think hydration is just about drinking enough water, but here's what Dr. Josh explained to me. Your liver is your body's main hydration organ. And if your liver cells aren't getting water at the cellular level, it doesn't matter how many glasses of water you drink per day or how often you got to go pee at night. The water just runs right through you. And when your liver is dehydrated, everything suffers. Your energy tanks, your digestion slows down. That's why you get the bloating. You hold on to stubborn weight. Your skin looks dull, and you feel decades older than you actually are. Plain water can't fix this on its own. And most electrolyte drinks, like Gatorade, is just sugar. And it got a little bit of salt that completely ignores the needs of your liver. That's why Dr. Josh, a practicing doctor with over 25 years of medical expertise, created a daily hydration drink called LTV. It's just not another powder. LTV combines clinical dose marine electrolytes like taurine to help your cells actually hold on to water. Plus, it has milk thistle and dandelion root to support your liver's natural detox function. I don't drink anymore, so the only thing that goes in my body is once in a while a diet Coke or something, or Coke Zero, and once in a while some fruit juice. But I need more water, and I hate the taste of just plain water. So he told me he has helped thousands of people and has received incredible reviews from customers who notice results fast. That's when I had heard enough. Talked to Robin. She's got a whole water station. I don't know if you guys have ever seen what a water station looks like. She has literally, it's like looking at a refinery. And we ordered some LTV hydration from the website. We've been drinking it with her refined water, and look at me. My skin is beautiful. South Florida sun. You ever see people down here in South Florida, as they get older, they start looking all crusty and wrinkly? Not me. I don't know, maybe it's black don't crack. I don't know. But I'm happy to report that I've been able to say goodbye to any bloating, the afternoon crashes, and dried out foggy feeling. And say hello to real energy, smoother digestion, and a body that actually feels hydrated for the first time in years. This stuff is powerful. I was amazed at how much better I felt, and in such a short period of time. But again, you're not going to get results like this from just a regular Gatorade type drink, or by just drinking more water. Dr. Josh put his 25 years plus of experience into LTV to make sure it actually delivers real cellular hydration, not just what would amount to being expensive pee. So if you're ready to hydrate your liver at the cellular level and finally feel a difference in your energy, your digestion, your waistline, your stomach, Go to drinkltv.com/Barry to get your hands on LTV today. By the way, it's your lucky day because Dr. Josh is running a special offer where you can get up to, listen, 64% off for a limited time. But this deal is only available through the link in the description below. The link is right below the video. It's right there in the description box. So do yourself a favor, click on it, and give your liver the hydration it's been missing. All right, so I hope it's a treat for you. I'm going to do something different. It is somewhat politics related, but at the same time, I want to introduce you to somebody that I met when I was. This channel used to be a Dolphins channel, and the only person probably who's a Dolphin fan who takes more, took more gruff than I did is probably him, because he's been antagonizing these fans. He's been telling them all along what's been going on. His name is Tony Dowe. He is TD Fins Talk on YouTube and TD Sports Talk on X, and he is a co-founder of Roundtable Sports, a great guy. Let me see if I hit the button. Is that you? Where are you at? Oh, you're down here. Wrong button. I'm sorry. That's where'd you go? There you go. Okay. You there?
Yes. How are you, Barry?
There you are, man. How you been?
I've been great, man. You know, beautiful days here in Florida. I know you're enjoying it, and listen, man, we're here for another day. Thank God.
And definitely thank God. And I see in your background, people who don't know, he's got the full Dolphins regalia back there, and it's like I'm telling you, tell everybody what you do, and also about Roundtable Sports.
Well, I'm a content creator for the Miami Dolphins. I cover the team independently, by the way. You know, I always had a passion to be in sports media, but, you know, the major networks, they aren't knocking doors down looking for people. So sometimes you got to create a lane for yourself and an opportunity for yourself. And I found some great success with that early on, and it led me to found a sports media company, Roundtable Sports, that's growing pretty well. And we're finishing out our NFL division now and continuing to grow as a company, becoming a large sports conglomerate. So I just headed in the right direction, and God willing, he'll continue to bless everything that I kind of like put him first in. And I'm just grateful.
How many, I don't know if you want to call them affiliates, but has it all filled up with all the, you have a different network, different station or channel with every single team yet?
Yeah, we've contracted creators for every single team now, and now we're getting, and we put them together from a divisional standpoint. For those who are familiar with the NFL, there are 8 divisions, 4 in the AFC, 4 in the NFC, and we put 4 of the top creators in the social media atmosphere together to have a debate show once a week on Roundtable Sports. So interdivision rivals come together to duke it out. And then now we're expanding to the actual individual team shows with several creators is the goal for each individual team show. So we're expanding, we're growing, and doing great things.
And I noticed that you were at the NFL draft this year, and did you go out to the combine as well?
Yeah, well, no, I didn't go to the combine. I just went to the draft this year and the Super Bowl. We've been doing that for a few years now. Yeah. So we head out, we cover it. We cover everything. And soon enough, we'll be expanding to other sports, but we're trying to master the NFL right now. Being the product is so sound, and yeah, it's been a joy. It's been fun, man. We miss you, man. We miss you.
I had a crystal ball out there about Tua, and nobody wanted to hear it. Years ago, I was like, nope, he ain't got it. Oh, Barry, you're just a hater. You're a complete hater. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It still hasn't stopped. It's still there. So
I noticed, and I don't know if anybody else notices it as they're watching this. You did that. You created your own channel. You also have now created a network of channels wrapped around the NFL, and you're black.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to be able to do this, you know, so.
So with everything that's been going on lately, I thought you were like me. We're oppressed. We're not. The people are telling us you can't succeed. How did you overcome the racism?
Well, Barry, I mean, this is such a loaded topic because what you're saying, we're joking as we say it,
Yeah.
but there are too many people now that I've noticed it's not a joke to them, and it's shocking. It's almost it's that victimhood mentality, and when these amazing United States of America, I feel like is the best country in the world. And one of the main reasons I feel that way is because opportunity is around everyone. And even in capitalism, it's a game. But are you playing it? Are you in the game? Are you playing the game? Are you, those things they say when they say you could be anything you want to do if you put your mind to it. One thing that I discovered when I was in college is it's actually so true. It's just who really takes up those words? Who really actually challenges those words? Because if you challenge them, you might come to learn you can be anything you want to be. Especially in today's society, you can identify as whatever you want to be. So,
but you can also you can also be president.
yes, you can be anything. And it's just a matter of, are you going to allow others to try to dictate what you can be, or are you going to go try to be what you want to be on your own? And that's the key. And society has this mentality now where everybody's influenced by someone, so they're not influenced by themselves at all. And that's part of the key. There's too many people that are brainwashed and manipulated. And one of my favorite quotes that I've been using for about 2 years now is the reason why many people don't feel that they're being lied to and manipulated is simply because they are being lied to and manipulated.
That's a great quote. Yeah,
it's that simple.
And it's funny. I have a couple of tweet posts, X posts that you had put up, and I want to show everybody this one. This is really interesting. I could be wrong, but you're responding here to Torrey Smith. And if I can remember, Torrey Smith wasn't he a Super Bowl wide receiver for the Rams?
You know what? Be honest with you, I don't even know. I don't know who I'm responding to sometimes.
If you look at his profile here, and it says the 2-time Super Bowl champ. I looked it up. He played for the Rams. So this guy has got rings. He two rings. He has succeeded, and yet he falls on his sword all over again. Talking about this stuff when they say you're doing bad things and people aren't going to be represented. And I love what you said. You said the biggest ignorance in all of America is thinking we're in a democracy. The United States of America is a republic, not a democracy. The people give their power to elected officials to have a vote for them. People look up the difference between a democracy and a republic. This was taught to all of us early on as the Pledge of Allegiance. And then, of course, once you did that, once you stepped into that realm and started talking that way, they come for you. You're not supposed to say these things like that. Do people, as you saw the commentary, are they trolls, or they really believe that at this point they are still in 2026 oppressed to the point where they're losing their vote?
They truly believe it. And that's what I've learned, that they truly believe it. And yes, they come for me. But one thing that I've, cemented in my head is that it's none of my business what anybody else thinks about me. Okay. That's their business. But yeah, they believe it, Barry. And I don't, here's the deal though. I don't blame the individuals that believe it. I blame obviously, number one, the national media. I also blame our certain politicians on a particular side, obviously on the Democratic Party. I'm just going to say it. I blame them. I blame celebrities.
Mm.
I blame the people who push the influence, because the hardworking, everyday, today American individual is working hard to survive. They're
Mhm.
going to work, they're taking care of their children, they're thanking God, they're on their knees praying, and they typically don't have the amount of time to actually do all the necessary research it takes to find the truth. And that's why you got to get your flowers here too, Barry. That's why what you do is so important, because there are people right now that may be driving home from work, tuning into you, and you are the source of their knowledge on many of these matters. And that's important, man. You have a huge responsibility. And based off of from where I'm sitting, you handle that responsibility very well. So kudos to you first and foremost. Okay.
Thank you.
But yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I noticed that as you're talking to people and how the influence, the negative influence you're talking about, what can we do? Because you've got a platform, I've got a platform. What can we do as Black men to help people get over this crap?
Well, we are limited in what we can do in many ways. That's why you are so important. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying a minute ago. But what we need to do is continue to live through example first and foremost. Continue to win and show our counterparts that we can, not our counterparts, but our brothers. I would say that we can win, and we can win our own way, because that's what the system is designed to do, for you to go and pursue whatever you want to pursue. And it's not going to guarantee the outcome, but it guarantees you the opportunity. And that's all you could ever ask for. So we just got to continue to win. As I'm growing a sports media company, I want to win, and I want to be at the top and be able to show people this is how I started. This is where I am today. And I'm winning. You can win as well. And same with what you're doing and what you're building, man. This is because I view you so much bigger than, CNN and MSNBC, because people need the truth. So that's what we can do. We can continue to lead by example, and every chance we get, reply to, like I did with Torrey Smith, reply to something that you see has ignorance in it. And guess what? Don't worry about the responses to your reply. Reply with the truth, drop that bomb, and get out of the room. Get out of there. I didn't go back and forth with the exchange.
No, I noticed
on that one. So yeah,
fact,
so that's what we can do, in my opinion.
One of your follow-up posts here, you said this, somebody had said something. It said, "Thank you so much. It's so sad that many don't see it. We didn't lose rights. We lost one party's ability to control us with propaganda." I'm going to stop there, because one of the problems I think that continues to happen is you recognize it. And you were talking about the influencing and everything else. Just like in sports, people didn't want to see that Tua just didn't have the goods. They held on to that fantasy per se. Oh yeah, it's going to be fantastic. We're going to win a Super Bowl. And I see that same parallel of people not wanting to say the truth. Hey man, this guy's not going to take us to the promised land, and you're not oppressed. It seems as though the influence that so many people feel, it's not real. It's propaganda. It's BS. And it's very hard for people to break through that. So one of the things I wanted to ask for anyone who might be in the audience is, how did you personally break through to the point where you're like, I am not going to stop just doing Dolphins channel. Now I'm going to go also and build my empire per se, and branch out and do 32 different channels. And now you're talking about doing other stuff. I assume basketball might be next year. How did you take it upon yourself to do that, to not fall victim?
I was never I was never a person that could fall victim, because I question everything. Number one, I question everything. And this goes back to, I went to a HBCU, Bethune-Cookman University. It was college, and I was there the year it changed to university. And I'll never forget this, Barry. There was a day where a local mayor, African-American mayor, came in to talk to the marching band. We're talking about a 400-member marching band, one of the largest, okay? He came in to talk to the group, didn't talk about policy, didn't talk about anything, just simply came in and said, come vote for me. And as soon as he left, the band director said, we're not going to have an evening session. I want everybody to go and to the polls and go vote for him right now. And, you know, I'm from Hollywood, Florida. And I'm in Daytona. I don't know anything about this mayor. I don't know anything about this man. And I question everything because I want to make sure that I'm being responsible with that. You know, everyone loves to throw out, you know, your ancestors died for you to vote. Well, I think my ancestors died for me to have the choice. Okay, that was more important. All right. So when everybody went to go vote, the whole band room cleared out and there was like 4 people left. Band director came in and cursed everybody out. All four of us, he cursed us out. You go get out there, you go vote. Those 3 left. I didn't leave. He looked at me and he left. And then another band director came in and talked to me about, you know, giving me the whole speech. And I never went because I don't know anything about this candidate. I don't know anything about him. He didn't give me his message. He didn't give me what he's trying to do. But that told me 99% of everybody did what was told. 99% of everyone in that room did what was told, and I didn't. And I've kind of like treated everything that way, but also, Barry, I've taken the time to actually go verify things. When one side says one thing, I go back and hear not only verify it, I also want to hear the opposition. What is your counter argument? And what I found in over the last 8 years, 9 years now, I have to give the Democratic Party some credit. They have become masters of manipulation. They really really have. They have become masters of manipulation. They could take one sentence, remove a word, and make it, you know, the R word. They have become masters. So when you stop and you take the time, you know, and hear both sides and hear the arguments, and then you go back to verify, you start to see the truth. And that's why I said what I said. Most Americans that are working hard, taking care of their children, they're tired, they're stressed, they're trying to raise their families and get by. They don't have the time to verify. They trust these people. They trust them. And when they're constantly fed the same message, and then their favorite singer, their favorite artist verifies it for them, it locks in. But not for me. I'm going to double check, and I've come to some conclusions, and I'm sorry. I get sad. I legitimately get sad because this is why I try to urge people, we have to think about being mad at the opposition, as in the Democrat Party, and the people of it. They are victims. They are victims of the propaganda. So they're listening to someone right now giving them a total opposite experience, and it's all they have, and they trust it. So it's a tough situation, man. But I will say this, slowly but surely, the shift is taking place.
It is.
It is. People may not notice it, but the shift is taking place.
You know how it's taking place? Because I still watch your channel. You can ask Robin. After we'd go down to the game, and I'm like, I got to get back and watch TD, and so he's gonna lose it today after what just happened. But one of the things that I love about your channel, most people may not say this to you, is that besides running your business and besides being a founder, CEO of a media company you're trying to put together, your best job, and I see it on your stream, is that of a father. I watch your children sit behind you, sit on your lap, and you're one of the few people who actually do that and show, hey, look it, I've got family. I have a wife. She's been on the show. She yells at you. You yell back at her. Your kids come in. That is so important because people are seeing this guy's different. here is a black man who's raising children, and I'm want to do some commendment now. I'm going to tell you, my applause to you is I watch how you interact with your children, and I think that's something that has been lost in our community as well. It's you can't fake that, and so when your kids are sitting there watching the game with you or pointing at you and they know something's going to happen, I
Yeah.
love it. I absolutely love it.
No, I appreciate that. I always say this, and for those who don't know, I have 6 children. One is out of the house. She's in college at University of Florida. And she's doing very well. But having 6 children is always work. And, you know, I want to be transparent too, Barry, because I think it's important for people to know this. What you see as me, you know, being what many say a great father, life hasn't always been like that for me.
No,
you know,
of course.
I've had situations and things where I fought so hard to get to this point, whether it be my own sins or whatever it may have been. But I have, you know, through the grace of God, I've gotten to a point where I know that, you know, all my kids are under my roof, and I'm trying my very best to instill principles in them that can set them up for the future, to not be victims and have a victim mentality, and be the best father that I could be now. And I'm working every single day to be better in that. And I got to thank my wife for it, you know, because, you know, she's fearless in letting me know consistently on, you know, hey, this is an opportunity for you and the kids. This is an opportunity, you know, having a strong person to see what you don't see. So when people say, hey, you're such a great father, man, I can't do it on my own. First and foremost, God. And second off, having my wife help me be the best father that I possibly can be, because I understand that me being present in all of my children's life, the importance of it, especially from a statistical standpoint. I'm a stats guy. I see the numbers for fatherless homes. And it doesn't mean that just because you don't have a father, you can't be great, but statistically it matters. And I want that to impact my children.
Well, very well said. It's a funny thing is you've been doing this for what, like you said, six. How long you been doing this, the dolphin stuff?
Wow, Barry, I just realized yesterday. Okay, I have an anniversary on May 22nd on my channel for 8 years now.
Wow. And so what I was going to say is we've watched your kids grow with you. You know what I mean? There's been a show and you're holding the baby, and I'm like, is that the same? That's his son. he was just a little kid. If you look at the older videos, and now he's running around in there with you, and he's learning from your father, learning from his father at the same time.
Before I had the grays, Barry. Before I had the grays, you know, I'm wise now. I'm getting wiser and wiser now. So yeah.
Well, you keep doing it. So really, in closing, I got to ask you, they keep calling me for season tickets. I saw the schedule come out yesterday, and it don't look good at all. I mean, how many wins we looking at in Miami? 3, 4?
Come on, Barry. You know me, man. You know me. 11, Barry. 11. All right. Get those season tickets. We're going to shock the world, man.
I'm like, we don't got
no
anybody.
prime time games.
that is single. They said we can't even show this team on air. We'll just put them on.
Barry, 11 win. Remember, you heard it here first, okay? The Miami Dolphins will win 11 games. We'll win the division. And, you know, I don't have no playoff aspirations. I just want that to happen. Malik Willis is going to win MVP, HN Offensive Player of the Year. Y'all hear the optimism. So, yeah.
You know, it's funny. I told Robin, I said, this will probably be the most fun season because there's really no expectations. So if there's no expectations, just have fun out there and represent. Don't fold the tent. Don't just, phone it in. Play hard, and we'll clap for you. Hopefully, we won't be wearing bags over our heads. We'll save that for 2 years from now if they don't get better. Thank you very much. If people want to follow you, I got on the screen on YouTube. It's TD Finstock. One thing I can guarantee you, he will entertain you like nobody else. We're heading into football season, and again, he's got 31. How many different channels at this point in terms of
4 40, actually 40 in the network. Just check out Roundtable Sports. And when you go to Roundtable Sports YouTube channel, you'll see all the channels under it for individual divisions and teams. 32 teams, 8 divisions, and a main channel.
Awesome. Do me a favor, say hi to Omar and Doug for me.
I will do. I'll make sure I do.
Thank you, brother.
Salute to you, Barry, man.
All right, I'll be right back.
Back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hey, I got the pass. Can't hear you. Volume.
So I'm looking at this last troll that you zapped, and it's just cracking me up.
I saw that. Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh.
I figured you would get a kick of that.
This is too funny. I can't tell what the most recent one. Oh, it goes from above.
Yeah,
crazy, absolutely crazy.
Kick them out. I've made a field goal. It was up. It's good.
These people. Oh gosh, it's too funny. What do you got?
Happy Friday.
What do you? Happy
Friday.
Friday.
The Trump FBI has just foiled a major terrorist plot that would have been carried out by an Iran-backed militia commander on U.S. soil, plus Canada and Europe. Mohammed el-Sadi, leader of Islamic Kataib Hezbollah, had 20-plus attacks planned. 20. His target was Jewish sites, including one in New York. Let that sink in. See, you can never rest. Your head has to be on the swivel. It continues to happen.
If we don't get these people, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier in terms of understanding and discerning the difference from people who have a different opinion from people who want to destroy your way of life. These people want to kill us.
You on the live. Yes, they do.
They just want us dead.
And a lot of them are here in the country right now. I mean, they're praying on the prayer rugs. They're ringing the bells at 5 a.m. I mean, I have some friends I talk to and they go, well, it's not here. It's not happening to me. The old head in the sand. Yeah. I said, okay, so you're going to wait till, they're all over, and they're out trying to, unalive you. I mean, whew.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I see you sent me something about Marco Rubio. I'm gonna go to that after that exact piece you sent me about this. But I'm gonna talk to you about Trump first. He did a gaggle on his way as he was flying back from China that I think people should see. Then I'm gonna go to the Cuba thing because it's Friday and there's so much still happening.
We have some good news.
What do you got?
Mr. Powell has officially stepped down as chairman of the Fed.
But did he leave? Did he leave, or is he staying as a governor?
It says officially stepped down. I mean, what's he going to keep the lights on, hang on to the carpet?
Well, he was stepping down as the head of the Fed. Fed. But he was adamant that he was going to stay as one of the governors, that he wasn't leaving. So I wonder if did he pack his crap and get out? I mean, that's what we need to do.
I love the meme. Remember when Trump was there with the hard hat and they were in the building and Powell's got the paper, and it now says, Trump says, right here, it says you're fired, right here.
You're fired.
That is a great meme.
And
oh
then
my God.
And it's funny, the media instantly pivoted, and they're like saying, well, the new guy's going to raise the interest rates. And I'm like, wow, man, he hasn't even got his desk set up yet, and you're telling me he's going to raise interest rates. You have no. The next piece I'm going to show you, I can prove to you that the media has no idea what the heck's going on.
One thing, your sound, I saw it being reported in the chat. Your mic, you're going in and out. When you were just talking to me, your volume was going up and then it went way down. So I don't know.
Check.
I hear you. Good.
Oh?
It comes and goes sometimes. It was the first time I actually heard it.
It's called
They said during the interview. Yeah. Just giving you a heads up. So, okay.
All right. Well, let me jump to the next section in case, and I'll check it out. Maybe I need to unplug.
Okay.
All right. So.
实际上也是回报松曾先生2017年在海湖庄园对我的款待。
Oh, by the way, as you're listening to this, understand they let Xi Jinping, he says what he has to say. Then the interpreter comes in to say what he said. So, no, I'm not just showing you a Chinese video.
I've chosen this place especially to reciprocate the hospitality extended to me in 2017 at Mar-a-Lago.
That's right. 这个地方是过去的皇家园林的一部分，很有历史感。我跟总统先生走过来的时候啊，都是在那里停留了一下。那些树都是几百年的树，其中有一棵是490年。在这一片的皇宫区，大概还有1000多年的树。总统先生还是很感兴趣，包括对我们的花儿。 我也说了，是把我们的乐器啊、种子我们好好安排一下，送给总统先生。
Well, this place used to be part of the Imperial Garden. There is a lot of history around this compound. On our way in, we stayed to look at some of the old trees. One of them is 490 years old. In other places within this compound, there are trees that have lived to be over 1,000 years old. The president was interested to learn all about that, including the Chinese roses, which we looked at. And I agreed to send the seeds for these roses to the president as a gift.
I love that. That's great. I want to thank you very much. This has been an incredible visit. I think a lot of good has come of it. We've made some fantastic trade deals, great for both countries. He's a man I respect greatly. Become really a friend. We've known each other now 11 years, almost 12 years. That's a long time. And we've settled a lot of different problems that other people wouldn't have been able to settle. And the relationship is a very strong one. We've really done some wonderful things, I believe. We did discuss Iran. We feel very similar to Iran. We want that to end. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. We want the straits open. We're closing it now. They closed it, and we closed it on top of them. But we want the straits open, and we want them to get it ended because it's a crazy thing. They're a little bit crazy, and it's no good. Can't have it. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. But we discussed a lot of other things also, and I think we're very much on agreement. We're going to have some further discussions now with the group. But I just want to thank President Xi and all of his representatives. We've become friendly with all of them. They're great people. And it's an honor to be here. We'll be back, and I believe on September 24th or thereabouts, President Xi is going to be coming to the United States, and we will be reciprocal, like reciprocal trade. The visit will be reciprocal. We're going to lay it on the line, and we're going to have, you're going to walk away, hopefully very impressed, like I'm very impressed with China. And I just want to end by saying thank you very much. It's been really a great couple of days. Thank you very much.
非常感谢，我觉得我这一次的访问真的是不可思议的一次好访问。我们两位元首共同的做出了很好的成果，我们达成了很多的贸易的协议，我们两个国家之间达成了很多的共识。您也是一个非常值得尊敬的一个领导人，我对您充满了尊重。我们相互之间认识已经有11年多，几乎要12年了，这是非常长的一个长久的友谊的关系。那通过我们两个人的讨论和合作，我们解决了很多的问题，别人都是没有办法能够解决这么多的问题的。我们两人之间的关系是非常好的。另外呢，我们讨论的问题当中还包括在伊朗问题上，我们也有非常相似的看法，我们都希望能够快速的解决伊朗的问题。那这个海峡，霍尔木兹海峡也必须要开放。现在呢是他们把它封锁了，然后呢我们也再加上一个封锁，这个是很疯狂的。我们大家都不希望是这样，希望能够尽快的开放这个海峡。那我们不。
Breaking news into the Fanfare news feed.
All right, so while they're doing the translation there, we'll go back to it, but I got some breaking news courtesy of SV that you guys might want to hear. Tina Peters is being released from prison after massive pressure from President Trump. Governor Polis, the governor of Colorado, is slashing her prison sentence in half and releasing her on parole on June 1st. So they're not giving her a pardon or anything. She's being released on parole on June 1st. I don't know why you want to keep her there the extra 15 days, but at least she's getting out. They clearly violated her rights, locking her up the way they did while she was sick. Trump previously nailed it. He said she caught people cheating in an election, and they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She looked at an election scam. Because she did that, they put her in jail for 9 years. So Tina Peters is about to be released from prison in about 16 days. So pray for her that these next 16 days or her last 16 days, she makes it through without any issue, and she should be going home just in time for the midterms.
能够允许伊朗拥有核武器。另外除此之外，我们还讨论了很多其他重要的问题。那我等一下呢，就会跟我们这个两个代表团在大范围的再进行进一步的讨论。那么我还想要再次的感谢习主席，也感谢中方代表团接待的所有的成员，我们大家都是好朋友了，而且我们将来还会再回来。另外呢，在今年的9月24日，习主席也将到美国来回访，这样的话呢，我们就可以实现元首之间的互访。我们在美国也会以同样的高规格来接待习主席，希望您在访问美国结束的时候呢，也会跟我一样有同样的这样的一种感受，能够觉得对于我们的接待能够感到有留下深刻的印象。最后我还再次要感谢您的访问，这2天的访问我觉得非常的愉快和成功。
谢谢总统先生，谢谢你刚才的讲话。
Thank you for the support.
Thank you.
这次的访问是一个历史性的、标志性的访问。这个迄今我们已经达成了一个新的两国关系，就是建设性的战略稳定关系。这个可以说是一个里程碑式的一个访问的事件，而且我们达成了很多这个合作的成果的文件，而且对国际问题也有了很多的。一字。你看看这棵树，这是一个2棵树连在一起了，也是100多年前的一棵树。
100年吗？哦。
不止啦，不止100年，200，
非常不非常不一般的。
我告诉你，这边的树全部是在200-300年以上，那边还有一个400多年的树。
All the trees here are around 200 to 300 years old, and the big one just behind.
那是粗一点是
400 years old.
They live that long, these trees.
这些树真的能活这么久？
是的，还有1000年的树。
And there are trees
在其他的地方
1000 years old.
From other countries, presidents and prime ministers, does he bring them?
在其他的国家来的元首啊、总统啊，或者是总理什么的，您作为国家主席，也都会到这边来接待他们吗？
很少。
I don't normally do.
是的，这个地方我们首先以前外事活动不开的，后来有外事活动以后极少这个动权。
In the past, we never had take on this content. And then even if we began to do so, we reserve this.
比如说，你看这个280年，清乾隆年280年，这摸一摸，这都是很好的。150年。
150 years old.
That's great. So they live
150年。
150
It's
years
pretty
old.
old. It's getting pretty old for a tree.
对于树来讲，树龄还是
Nice,
很
nice
高了
place.
这
Nice place.
很美的地方
I like it.
我很喜
I
欢，
like this place.
我喜欢这地儿。
所有这里的
我这地儿能待得惯，我可能不想走了呢。
展现的这种生命啊，展现的这种历史啊，让我们站在这里啊。
Reason why I wanted to include that is the media is telling you that they somehow know everything that happened. Well, that's not true, because that secret garden, that private place that Xi Jinping took him to, if you notice, I'm sure on the periphery, both security teams were there. I'm sure the Chinese security team was nearby, and I'm sure Secret Service was nearby. But the only people walking with him were his interpreters. There wasn't any American interpreters there. What I mean by that is they have no idea, once they kicked out the press, what was said back there. And so when you see things being said in the media and people are writing articles and that, you know, Xi Jinping, he beat Trump or vice versa, whatever, and this is all they agree to, we have no idea. We have no idea what those two men spoke about when they went off in private. And so if we don't know what they were talking about when they went off in private, how can we conclude what has been or not been agreed to? And so I think you should take what you hear from the media at this point with a grain of salt, because it doesn't make any sense, because they weren't there. They weren't there. There's obviously no readout. President Trump's not coming back. Right. Here's everything we said. That's not true. I'm sure there's a few people who understand what happened in that meeting, but that those interpreters have been with Xi Jinping for decades. So they're not saying anything. So who knows from the American side, specifically from talking about in the media, who knows what was said in that meeting? So on the way back from China, President Trump held a gaggle, as he sometimes does, on Air Force One, and it got a little spirited at points, but here's what he said has happened.
Hello, everybody. How are you, Mr. President? How are you? So we had a great stay. It was an amazing period of time. President Xi's an incredible guy. Got along, made a lot of great trade deals, including over 200 planes for Boeing, with a promise of 750 planes, which will be by far the largest order ever if they do a good job with the 200, which I'm sure they will. And that's General Electric also, the engines. So they're buying General Electric. So it's approximately 450 engines, 200 planes, and a promise of up to 750 if they do a good job. We had an amazing time. It was a very historic. Oh, look who we have. Hello, David. It was a very historic couple of days, I think. Really amazing.
Sir, I know there'll be a lot of questions around the China trip, but just first on Iran, have you rejected the latest proposal from Iran, or where does that stand?
Well, I looked at it, and if I don't like the first sentence, I just throw it away.
What was the first sentence?
An unacceptable sentence. Because they're fully agreed, no nuclear, and if they have any nuclear of any form, I don't read the rest of it.
So 20 years is not enough for you, it's got to be a permanent...
No, 20 years is enough, but the level of guarantee from them is not enough. In other words, it's got to be a real 20 years, not a big one.
They've got to get all the fuel out and no more production.
We have to get everything, but we're not even talking about, I call it the nuclear dust. came up with a term which seems to have caught on.
But talking about because they would not remove the.
They said that they can't remove it because they don't have the technology to remove it. They don't have the type of tractors. They say the only one. They told me directly. They said the only one that can remove it is China or the U.S. We're the only ones with the equipment. They said you were right. It is a complete obliteration. With that being said, I want to get it. And they agreed to it, but then they took it back. But they'll agree to it eventually.
Can I ask you about Taiwan? What did President Xi say to you about Taiwan? And what did President Xi say to you about Taiwan? And are you still going to approve the arms sale?
So President Xi and I talked a lot about Taiwan. He thinks they cannot have anything to do with what they're doing. I mean, he's against very much what they're doing. We talked about Taiwan. We talked about Iran a lot, and I think we have a very good understanding with both. On Taiwan, he does not want to see a fight for independence because that would be a very strong confrontation. And I heard him out.
Are you going to change your word?
No, I didn't make a comment on it. I heard him out. I have a lot of respect for him. On Iran, it's very interesting. He feels strongly they can't have a nuclear weapon. He said that very strongly. They cannot have a nuclear weapon, and he wants them to open up the strait. But as he said, they closed it, and then you closed them with a smile. And it's true. We control the strait. And they've done no business, literally they've done no business in the last 2.5 weeks, which is approximately $500 million a day. So we have, we're doing very well on all fronts.
Before we leave Taiwan, Mr. President, President Xi said that there was a risk of conflict with the US over Taiwan. What's your response to that?
I don't think there's a conflict, other than we don't need their strait. We don't need
on Taiwan, Mr. President Xi said there was a risk of conflict with the US over Taiwan.
No, I don't think so. I think we're going to be. I think we'll be fine. He doesn't want to see. He doesn't want to see a war. And you have two things. You have the Iranian situation, and that I think we agree almost entirely. Other than he's a buyer, and we're not. We don't need it. And on Taiwan, he doesn't want to see a movement for independence. He says, look, we've had it for thousands of years, and then at a certain period of time it left, and we were going to get it back. They had the Korean War. A lot of things happened. We have the whole history. But, no, on Taiwan, he feels very strongly. I made no commitment either way. We'll see what happens.
What about the arms sales to Taiwan?
I'll make a determination over the next fairly short period.
You're not necessarily going to go ahead. It was your proposal.
I'm going to make a determination. I'm going to see. I have to speak to the person that right now is, you know who he is, that's running Taiwan.
Mr. President, did President Xi make any firm commitment to put pressure on the Iranians to reopen the Strait of Hormuz?
I'm not asking for any favors, because when you ask for favors, you have to do favors in return. We don't need favors. We've wiped out their armed forces, essentially. We may have to do a little cleanup work because we had a little month-long ceasefire, I guess you'd call it, but we have a blockade that's so effective. That's why we did the ceasefire. We really did the ceasefire at the request of other nations. I wouldn't have really been in favor of it, but we did it as a favor to Pakistan with terrific people, the Field Marshal and the Prime Minister. But no, I mean, President Xi and I agree on many things, and we agree very much on trade. We're going to be doing a lot of trading. Our farmers are going to be taking in. I mean, our farmers are going to be very happy with the deal we made.
Is your instinct that he will put pressure, that he will try and get them to do more?
Ask him to put pressure because I don't need favors. I think he will. I think automatically he'd like to see it opened up. He gets about 40% of his energy or his oil from that, from the strait. We get none. We don't need it.
Mr. President, on Truth Social, you said that President Xi had made a reference to the decline of the U.S. We didn't hear him say that. Maybe it was something he said in private to you. So what was it, first of all, that he said that prompted you to do this?
All right, so I wanted to stop so you guys can get ready for this exchange. President Trump doesn't like this reporter whatsoever, and hits him hard. In fact, I think he wanted to give him a parachute and toss him off the plane.
Made a statement. It might not have been from him, it was somebody, but they talked about the decline. But he said today, and he said it very publicly, he said the U.S. was declining for the last 4 years. And he said what President Trump has done in the last 15, 16 months has been virtually a miracle. He said we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. But he said that it was a declining country. Under Joe Biden, he said we had a seriously declining country, which we did, with people pouring in from all over the world, from prisons and everything else. He said what President Trump has done has been a virtual miracle. It's the hottest country anywhere in the world, and it is, yeah.
On a different subject, on Cuba, there's reporting that Raul Castro could be indicted by the DOJ, I believe. What does that mean?
Well, I don't want to comment on that. I'll let DOJ comment on it. But they need help, as you know. And you talk about a declining country. They are really a nation or a country in decline. So we're going to see. We have a lot to talk about on Cuba, but not maybe for today.
All right, so I want to interject right now because he didn't want to talk about that question whatsoever, which means something's happening in Cuba. I'm going to talk to you about it after this is over, but I wanted to show you this really quick here. It says the United States is taking, this is from CBS News, the United States is taking steps to indict Raul Castro, 94-year-old former president of Cuba and brother of Fidel Castro, in connection with the downing of planes 30 years ago, according to U.S. officials familiar with the matter. 94-year-old Raul Castro, they're looking to take him into custody. Funny how this story breaks today after they have to send him $100 million, but we'll get to that after this.
President, did you agree with President Xi to extend that year-long truce on tariffs?
We didn't discuss tariffs. I mean, they're paying tariffs. They're paying substantial tariffs, but we didn't discuss it. You know, before I came along, it was the opposite. We didn't discuss tariffs.
How come?
It wasn't brought up.
Mr. President, you said in January to us that you were going to bring up the expansion of their nuclear program. Obviously, they've got 600 weapons now by the Pentagon's estimate, going to 1,500. Did that come up? Did you succeed in getting them into any form of arms control? Or remember we discussed New
You're talking about China.
China.
We brought it up. The denuclearization. I talk about it all the time with Russia and with China. And it did come up. We did discuss that.
And what did you conclude?
I don't know. I got a very positive response since the beginning. You know, we're going to be together 4 times potentially this year. We have the G20, which he wants to come to, which I'd like him to come to. It's going to be in Miami. It's going to be in Doral. And it's going to be, I think, very good. Much more important if he's there. And so you have the G20. We have one that he has, as you know, in November, right, in China. He's asked me to be there. I'm going to try and be there. And then we have another one on September, I guess, 26th or 24th, where he's coming into the White House.
I'm trying to understand what it is he committed to, if he committed anything.
Well, I don't want to say anybody committed, but we have a very good understanding.
So are you
know, the concept of denuclearization.
Denuclearization or just an extension
well,
of
a denuclearization.
In other words, building down.
And you bring Russia into it also. But the concept of that is something that would be very good.
Sir, can I ask you about the political prisoners in China? Did you bring up with President Xi any of the political prisoners in China? Are any going to be released? Any progress?
I think he's giving very serious consideration to the pastor. The pastor has said he's giving very serious consideration to that.
What about Jimmy
I discussed it.
What about Jimmy Lai?
It's a tougher one. I did bring it up. It's a tougher one. For him, it's a tougher one.
What did he say about it?
I understand. For him, it's a very... He told me, I don't want to mislead anybody. He said Jimmy Lai is a tough one for him to do. You know, they went through a lot. And right or wrong, they went through a lot. So He told me that would be a tough one. He said he's going to strongly consider the best.
Sir, can I ask you too on technology? First, computer chips, advanced computer chips like the H200s that Jensen has. Did that come up at all with you?
It didn't come up, but as you know, Jensen was there. He's an amazing guy, NVIDIA. And he would be inclined. You know, they have much higher level than the H200. But the H200 is good. China needs it. And so, yeah, it came up.
They haven't bought it.
We haven't bought it, no, because they chose not to. They want to try and develop their own. But it did come up, and I think something could happen on that.
Okay. And then on artificial intelligence.
They have quite a bit higher level, but the H200 it's a great chip.
And then on artificial intelligence, what is it that you want to get done? Did you bring up?
We did. We talked. You know, we're leading by a lot, but they're second, and they're very strong. And we talked about possibly working together for guardrails.
And what kind of guardrails? What kind of guardrails?
The standard guardrails that we talk about all the time. AI is fantastic. So many things can happen in terms of health and medicine and operations, everything. Military, and so many things can happen, but it's also got some drawbacks, and we're talking about, we probably will. We're going to work together. We had a very good conversation about a lot of stuff.
So biological, nuclear, cyber. Did you specifically discuss those risks?
We discussed, I would say, almost everything you could discuss except for a reduction of tariffs.
On Iran, Mr. President, just to be clear, I mean, what's next? Is the threat of the bombing starting again? How realistic is that?
I don't want to say that. I mean, I'd like to tell you. I'd like to say on a certain hour, a certain day, the bombing is going to start. I don't want to say that. I can only say that Iran, I can say this with very, very strong conviction, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Not going to happen.
What would the use be?
No chance.
What would the use be of repeating the bombing? You did it for 38 days.
Well, no, we did.
And you did not get the political changes in Iran.
No, I had a total military victory. But the fake news, guys like you write incorrectly. You're a fake guy, and guys like you write about it incorrectly. We had a total military victory. We knocked out their entire Navy. We knocked out their entire Air Force. We knocked out all of their anti-aircraft weaponry. We knocked out all of their radar. We knocked out all of their leaders, number one, and then we knocked out all of their leaders in the 2nd Division, and we knocked out numerous of their leaders in the 3rd Division. And they're very confused. We've had a total victory, except by people like you that don't write the truth. You know, you should write. I actually think it's sort of treasonous what you write, but you and the...
Looked him right in the face. Looked him right in the face, that smirky little scumbag, and said, I think it's treason what you do. The President of the United States has you on Air Force One, looks you face to face and calls you treasonous. I hope he wet his pants.
New York Times and CNN, I would say, are the worst.
So on another war.
You should know better than that. You're a professional.
Hold on, let me see what happened here. Is it continuing? Wait 1 second. Okay. I don't know what happened here. It looks like it jumped. Anyway, it was almost over anyway. So I don't know. Sometimes it happens when I put this stuff together. But any event, that's where we are with that. So let me jump to my next piece since we actually have it ready to go. Hold on 1 second. This, and it's going to dovetail quickly, so I'm trying to time this up. President Trump is going to be live on Fox, or not live. Brett Baer did an interview with him, and it's going to broadcast at 6. And right now I've got the interview from Hannity last night, so we should be able to hit those boom back to back. So let's jump on this.
Thank you so much for sitting down. Your first interview, we appreciate it. Wow. They rolled out the red carpet. I have video of when Barack Hussein Obama came to China. There wasn't as much pageantry. From your perspective, that welcome, how did you interpret that?
Well, we have a relationship, he and I, and we've been working together a long time. We've gotten along well. When I first came here, China was really taking advantage of the United States. He understands that. And now we do great with China, and we have a very good relationship. We have a friendship, really. He's a tremendous leader. He's been here a long time, very powerful, very strong. There's no doubt about it. And we just have a good relationship. I did actually see other people arrive here that not treated so well, but we were treated very well.
So that was meaningful for you?
Well, I mean, if I got out of a plane and nobody was there to greet me, I would say that wouldn't be so cool, because it's really respect for our country. Our country is respected. Look, we're the hottest country right now anywhere in the world. But he and I know each other well, I think beyond maybe that. But we certainly got a very nice greeting, and today was beautiful.
Mr. President, if there was any meeting that I think I would want to be a part of, I would love to have been in that meeting. Rather than me start with a bunch of questions about this and that, and I do have specific questions, in your own words, how did this meeting go? Because I knew you were there a long time.
It was a long meeting. It started off interestingly because they're very organized people. And as you know, we have about 30 of the biggest business leaders in the world, biggest everything, you know, I mean, you name it, from chips to planes to everything. And they're all here. I didn't invite them. They all wanted to come. And they're all here. And I suggested that before we start the meeting, I'd like to introduce them to you. And they were surprised because it wasn't, you know, it wasn't scheduled. And they looked around, they said, well, and then, you know, we had everybody. I don't want to go into names because I'll leave some out. But there were a lot of guys.
Tim Cook, Elon Musk.
Yeah,
you know,
we had everybody.
The head of NVIDIA was
Jensen.
here.
We had just everybody. And men and women, all great business, the best. And they said, okay. And they each spoke a little bit and introduced themselves. And it's interesting because they do business in China. Most of them do business here, but probably like to do more. And I'd like to see them do more. That would be good for trade and trade balance. And they were fantastic. I'll tell you, they really had a good time. Once the Chinese leadership, because it was President Xi and many other leaders, once they got used to the fact that we're a little off schedule here and we're talking about a subject that wasn't even thought about, but they were outside. I said, I think we can get them in 5 minutes, because they were literally, you know, a few minutes away from the room where we were in the Great Hall. We were in the Great Hall. And they came in and they did fantastically well. It was really good. I think it was, he actually said, oh, that was very good. That was a good idea. But it was very different from what the schedule had. And then we went on, and we talked about a lot of different subjects, and I think it was all good.
Let me ask you this. You know, you always say that you have a very good relationship with President Xi. And you say the same thing about Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
You're America first.
Yeah.
You seem to always understand he's going to be China first.
Yeah, totally.
And so...
He is. He's China first. He wants to make good deals. But having a good relationship is a good thing, not a bad thing. I explain to people, you know, it's great when you have good relationships with very powerful countries, and powerful economically as well as... We have the most... I built, in my first term, the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest military in the world. We proved that with Venezuela. We proved it with Iran. Iran's wiped out militarily. It's just a question of time. And, you know, we gave them a break by stopping a little while. We have a blockade. They have no boats are going in. No boats are even thinking about it. We talked about it today. It's very interesting. But they're impressed. We have a great military. We have the greatest military we've ever had, but we have the greatest military anywhere in the world. I built it in the first term. A little was given away by Biden to Afghanistan. And as much as it was a lot, but it's a very little compared to what we have. We have a country that is respected. Our country 2 years ago, if Biden came here, I don't even think he would get a meeting with President Xi. I don't think they'd even meet with him.
I don't know if he'd be able to focus long enough in the meeting.
You know what? He wouldn't come here. But assuming he came, I don't know that he'd even have a meeting. It's amazing. Actually, a lot of people... I noticed even with the business leaders, they're the biggest businessmen in the world, and women, a couple of women, and most of them, almost all of them, but most of them never met President Xi. This was the first time they've met him. So they found it exciting. They all performed very well. They all spoke. And I said, that's a little different position for them because they're hot stuff back in our country. But here they are, they're standing in front of this, massive country, the leadership. But they really performed well, I thought.
You have in the past described President Xi to me as very tough, all business.
Yeah.
You're not describing the type of business that he normally used to do. Do you think that your relationship has evolved to the point where, he can go along with your spontaneity?
I think he's a warm person, actually, but he's all business. He's there's no games, there's no talking about how nice the weather is. Oh, let's look at the stars, let's look at the sun. No, he's all business, and I like that. I mean, that's a good thing. No games. I say it about him, and I could say it about some, not as complimentary, frankly, for the most part. But I say about him that if you went to Hollywood and you looked for a leader of China to play a role in a movie,
central casting.
He's central casting. You couldn't find a guy like him. Even his physical features. He's tall, very tall, and especially for this country because they tend to be a little bit shorter. You look at the military. I mean, the military today was incredible. That military marching was incredible. But no, if you went to Hollywood, you're not going to find a guy to play the role. He's good. And he's I'll get criticized. They always criticize me when I say good things about certain leaders, and this one. But he's a leader for China. He's led almost 1.5 billion people for a long time, and he's respected. It's sort of interesting when the fake news said, he said, they'll say, President Trump said that President Xi was a brilliant leader. That's a terrible thing. What am I going to do? But it's, you saw the response. You saw here's the thing. Those business people are here to make deals and to bring back jobs. They're bringing back massive numbers. China's going to invest hundreds of billions of dollars with those people that were in that room today. That's why they came. That's why they came. It was really an honor. We had just about every major business leader in there.
Yeah, I'm on.
If you were, let me hypothesize something for you. If you were intent on destroying the deep state, how would you draw up that playbook? What would be the things that you would put together to destroy the deep state? More than likely, one of those things would be try to find all the bolt holes, all the places where their military industrial complex, where it spends money, how it does all kinds of dirty stuff around the world. And this is just me talking. I have no idea. I'm just gonna blurt this out because it's something that's been on my mind, and an SB sent me something that continued to make it make more sense. President Trump always, and I mean he must say it constantly, oh, that person is central casting. That person is central casting. Xi Jinping, that's central casting. And they smiled when Sean Hannity just asked him that about central casting. I worked at Disney, full disclosure. What does that mean? And a lot of people have heard it, and they smile and laugh and say that's Trump. What is he saying? Is he telling us, is he telegraphing to us, you're watching a movie? You see, when you cast somebody, you have them play a role. They're not really who you think they are. What you're seeing is not what you think it is. And he constantly tells us, oh, that dude's central casting. When I got recruited by Disney to be a general manager up there, and they told me I had to go to the office and apply, I'm like, where's HR? Oh, there's no HR here. It's central casting. You got to go to the casting office. I'm like, what in the hell is a casting office? I've never seen a casting office. And the whole thing is basically a charade that you're on stage. You're not working. They teach you very, very quickly before you even can become an employee. You are not an employee at Disney. There's not a single person who's employed at Disney. Every single person who works at Disney is a cast member. Not sure if you know that. We're all cast members. And when you go to your position, whether it's a cashier in the Magic Kingdom or if you're a janitor in the Animal Kingdom, when you come out of wherever it is you change your uniform, they say you are now on stage. It's bred into you as a Disney cast member. At Central Casting, when you're going through your Disney indoctrination, you are going to be on stage tonight. And everything is just like it's being staged, which it is. If you ever gone to Disney World, you know that Mickey Mouse can never be in the same place at the same time, or two different places at the same time. Mickey can only be in one place. He's got to go under the tunnel, and the guy over there can pop up and be the other Mickey Mouse. There cannot be two characters up in simultaneous places. Everything is thought of. Every single, how you get out of the stage, meaning going off stage. And I don't know if a lot of people understood how in depth the staging is at Disney. And President Trump, as often as he can, keeps telling us about central casting. What if everything we're seeing is indeed a movie to destroy the deep state? How would you go about destroying the deep state? Well, the reason the deep state is the deep state is because of all the craziness they've done all over the world. Some of you, many of you may have asked for quite some time, why the hell are we the world's policemen? What are we doing even involved in Ukraine? It has nothing to do with us. What if the meeting that President Trump just went to Xi Jinping has nothing to do with what people on the face of it are thinking? So SB sent me this tweet, and I don't know if this guy is in government from clandestine, but it is 100% what I believe. I want you to check this out. It says, I think we're going to see the eventual withdrawal of U.S. influence in Taiwan and Ukraine. Are we going to sell out Taiwan, as Chuck Schumer said? No. I think we're just going to not push so much influence. Immediately, the Taiwan question started getting asked. The Democrats, oh my God, what are we going to do about Taiwan? Chuck Schumer put out a post. We cannot abandon Taiwan. Why, Chucky? What's the deal with Taiwan? What money's flowing through there? Yes, they make chips, but I think we know they're still going to make the chips. He's talking about it. So as you read this, it says Trump is removing the Chinese, Russian influence from the Western Hemisphere, the Don Road Doctrine. We'll take care of this. You take care of that. We won't bother you. You don't bother us. Venezuela, Panama, Cuba. And I think Trump wants to remove our presence from China and Russia's neighborhood as well. You find it coincidental that he's coming back, and at the same time he's coming back, they're starting to do stuff with Cuba? That Marco Rubio went to the Vatican and told the Grand Poobah, hey, you better do something with your boys in Cuba. Now they want our money, and of course it's going to have conditions attached to it. And you guys, you, Putin, and Xi Jinping, stay out of it. I can't expect to tell you to stop funding Iran if I'm going to continue funding Taiwan. You stay where you are. We'll take care of this Western Hemisphere. Putin and Xi stood down from the entire time while Trump removed their influence in our region. I think they did so in exchange for us to do the same. Make sense? How is it possible that we did what we did in Venezuela and what we're about to do in Cuba, with both of those countries having some interest or influence in Cuba? Well, the only way you could probably do that is to tell them, we're not going to mess with you. You mind your business. This is our business. And of course, I'm pretty sure that at that point, Xi Jinping's was like, you go, well, okay, well, you get out of Taiwan. And of course, that's immediately makes people repel, but at the same time, not our problem, not our monkeys, not our circus. And so he continues here, says, this fits into my overall thesis that we are seeing the world map be redrawn and spheres of influence are being consolidated. The U.S. will no longer be the world police. Our military is coming home and the superpowers will be in charge of their respective regions. Fits completely well with the Monroe-Donroe doctrine. We want the Western Hemisphere here. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of Cuba. Eventually, we get down to Haiti. We'll do what we need to do here. We'll make sure that the Caribbean is safe. We're going to make sure everything in the Western Hemisphere is as it's supposed to be. Greenland, you're up next. I think Trump is ending the proxy wars, the espionage, the weapons of mass destruction's arm races, the Cold War that never ended, and preventing World War III before it even begins. We will stay in our yard. China, Russia will stay in their yard, and we can trade with each other and coexist peacefully. We can treat each other as global partners instead of enemies on a collision course for war. That's what I said last night after I heard what Xi Jinping said. He said, it's better for us to be partners than adversaries, than to be at each other's throat. What's the easiest way to keep these countries dealing with their own stuff? Money. So if we can trade, let me bring over all these people to show you they're willing to continue doing business with you. Just because you can't put your tentacles in Venezuela anymore doesn't mean that you're stuck. We got you. You don't have to worry about Cuba anymore. You don't have to keep feeding them. We're not in that kind of world. You stay over there, we'll stay over here. How do I keep your country from wanting to invade or do something here? Well, there's nothing to do if you have everything you need. What's the best way to get everything you need? Let's partner. That's what I think as well. I've been thinking that. I've been telling you guys a lot of that. That's what I think is happening as well.
And the list was impressive. There's no doubt about it. So maybe to give people some insight into how you act in these situations. You're representing our country. You're the president of our country. And we get to watch you on a regular basis, something that the media did not get a lot of access to when Joe Biden was president. But we watch you.
He never did it.
Well,
and when he did do it, it was a disaster. Okay, so almost 100% of the time, it was a disaster.
Pretty much.
It was a terrible thing for our country. It can't be represented like that. Our country was laughed at. 2 years ago, our country was laughed at. We felt like a stupid country. We were scorned, we were mocked, we were taken advantage of in trade and every other way. I mean, look at what happened with Afghanistan. We left all that, billions of dollars of equipment behind. Could have taken it. It was just unbelievable. There's no reason to do that. It's just all of a sudden and leave it. No, we were a country with the highest inflation in history. When they talk about high prices, I inherited the high prices. I'm getting them down. I've got them down incredibly. In fact, if I didn't make the little excursion to the country of Iran, I had to do it. We just hit the highest stock market ever, which, by the way, now we're now higher than we were before the war started. And oil went up very little compared to what most people, even including me, I thought it would go up more. But that was okay for a short period of time, because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. They're crazy.
I'm going to get to that.
You can't let them have a nuclear weapon. They would use it. There'd be no Israel. There'd be no Middle East. There'd be no Europe. And they come at us too. Because you know why? They're crazy.
I'm going to get back to Iran. Let me go to the media and Donald Trump and then the person and give people insight into the guy that sits in the room across from the leader of China, 1.5 billion people. We watch you almost daily with the media, and I think you enjoy it. You bring them in, they have gaggles, you keep them there for a long period of time, probably.
It's not that I enjoy it.
You don't enjoy it?
No.
You seem like you do.
Well, every question's a kill. You know, they're always going for the kill. Every question, you see these people with a hatred. I said, you have such hatred when you ask the question. Why? Because I have a strong border? Because I have a good military? Why do you have such hatred? The whole thing is crazy. It's not that I enjoy it. It's that I can get the word out, because I don't get the word out. I mean, look, Fox is great, and, you know, we have some that are good. But overall, if you read the New York Times, you actually think we're losing or not doing well in Iran. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. It's gone. It's just a question of time. If we want, we stopped. Could have gone for another few weeks. It would have been over. I did that at the request of a lot of leaders that are friendly with them. It's not going to matter for them. They're finished. Now they can make a deal, or they get annihilated. I don't want to do that. Yeah. But we have the greatest military. And, you know, when you do news conferences, you're getting the word out that you're not going to read in the New York Times. I mean, I read these things. I see some of your other networks, the way they cover it. They will take a massive military victory and make it like we should have done it faster. The one thing they couldn't complain about was Venezuela, because it was over in one day. Mm. So we're comparing it to...
So here's my question.
You know, as an example, Vietnam lasted for 19 years, right?
It did.
I think Iraq was 10 years. Thousands and thousands of people killed there. Many, many thousands in Vietnam. And we have, sadly, we've lost, in 2 wars, we've lost 13 people. 13. That's 13 people too many. But we've lost 13 as opposed to 75,000, as opposed to 50,000, as opposed to numbers that are staggering. Think of it. We're 19 years in Vietnam. Every war, we're 4 years, 8 years, 9 years. Iraq was 10 years. We're on all these wars. I've never, like a couple of months, and the Navy's gone. They have 159 ships. Every single one of them is now happily floating or not floating on the bottom of the sea. No, every one. They have no Air Force. They had a nice Air Force. They don't anymore. They have no Air Force. They have no anti-aircraft. Now, they probably have. I mean, we know everything they've done. They built it up a little bit. We'll take it out in one day. It'll all be gone. I hope they're watching, because all of their anti-stuff, anything they put up, we know exactly what they put up. You know, they had a little respite. And so they're trying to get a few things together. They have taken some missiles from underground. We know exactly what they're doing. It'll all be gone in one day. Everything they've done for the last 4 weeks will be gone in one day. But when you read some of these horrible papers, if you watch CNN as an example, or that other one, they used to go to MSDNC, now it's MS Now, and they got rid of it because it was such an embarrassment. It gets no ratings. CNN has just been destroyed.
You were pretty funny the other day. You were in the Oval Office and you go, you know, I think whatever I want to do, I'm going to say the opposite. Then I'll get what I want.
It took me a while, you know.
But by the way, there's probably some...
No, I'm going to announce what I don't want. I'll be able to get it. They'll immediately, like, I'll say, we will not build a wall. We will not because I built over 1,000 miles of wall. People don't even talk about it. We have the safest southern border in the history of our country. We have the safest border in the world, other than North Korea. I tell you, North Korea has a pretty safe border, too. They've got 5 fences that are fully electrocuted.
You were at that border.
I saw it. There's never been anyone. There was one person that got through, but he ended up dying about 10 feet as he got through.
Let me go to the issue of trade, tariffs, intellectual property theft. I'm sure, especially with all those big business people you brought in, those were big. Any progress you can report?
Yeah, I mean, it is progress, but I also tell people that, you know, I was at an interview with a very bad, stupid reporter. She works for CBS. You saw that 60 Minutes. Stupid person. Just an average person. You could take anybody off the street and it'd be as good as she is. Just very average. And she asked me a question.
Yeah.
She's talked about China and this and that they steal this and they steal that. And I said, yeah, we do it to them too. They spy on us. I said, we spy on them too, I guess, So some people thought that was cute. Other people said, you don't have to say that. I said, I sort of do. No, we do things and they do things, and that's the way it is. Now, with that being said, I spoke to him very strongly about that, and I'd like to see it taken care of. But they've been doing that for 50 years. You know,
will we see a change? In other words, will there be an improvement with trade?
Fentanyl is way down coming into the country for two reasons. The border's strong, but it's also down because they're sending less. You know, we taxed them. I gave them a 20% tariff, and because of fentanyl, it was like a penalty. Nobody ever did that. You didn't know that probably. I gave them a 20% tariff because they're sending fentanyl. It's a huge amount of money. I actually said, you know, the tariff is costing you $200 billion, and you make $200 million, much less, a small percentage from the sale. I think from the sale of the fentanyl. And so fentanyl is used for a lot of different reasons, but the bad reason probably outweighs the good. You know, that fentanyl is used for a lot of, you go into fentanyl, it's used for a lot of different things, including operations, et cetera, but it's been a disaster. But as you know, I put on a charge of 20%, a tariff of 20%. Nobody else would do that. And we do well with China, and I think we'll both do well. These people really, what I'd like to see, China doesn't open the country. It's massive. It would be unbelievable for our companies if they opened it, and I think it would be good for China too.
Any indication they will open?
Well, they're going to open some of it, yeah. They open it in stages. I'd like to just see them open it. But, you know, they guard their country, and he cherishes his country. He wants to he wants China to be, you know.
What does he want from you? What does he want?
Is the greatest phrase of all time. But
what does he want from us?
They have a similar.
What does he want from the U.S.?
A lot of things. We talked about a lot of things. Too many things to discuss, but a lot of things. We had a very good meeting, but we want things from them. One thing he agreed to today is going to order 200 jets. That's a big thing. Boeing. 200 big ones. That's a lot of jobs. It's a lot. Boeing wanted 150. He got 200. He said, I think it was a commitment. I mean, you know, sort of like a statement, but I think it was a commitment. It's a great thing. That's a lot of jobs. Boeing's doing a good job. They're catching up. The requests were a lot, and our requests were a lot. We requested for a lot. We have Visa, which is not allowed to trade, and they were there. It was a big company, and other companies are allowed to trade. And I said, what about letting Visa? We had the head of Visa there today, by the way. Visa's a big deal. I said, what about using Visa in China? For some reason, they were blackballed. And maybe that'll come off. So we had a lot of, you know, we were in there for a few hours, right? Long time.
Do you think you made progress? Did you feel like that the give and take,
Sure,
like, well, for example, you're not going to sign this big agreement after hours meeting, but do you feel the foundation was laid for great success?
Better than last time. You know, last time we signed like 36 deals. This time it's much bigger than that. Talked about soybeans for our farmers. They're going to do a lot of soybeans for our farmers. They're going to be buying a lot of our farm product, which is great. You know, they have an unlimited appetite, as the expression goes. They can buy as much as they, when you have that many people, they need it. And we have the best product. We're the best, sort of the best of everything. And they'll be doing that. Very farmer to me is very, you know, I must have gotten 95% of the farm vote. And by the way, we just signed the farm bill, or we just approved the farm bill in Congress, which a lot of people thought was not going to happen. You know, the Democrats are against farmers. You believe it? I say, how can they be against? Add that to the men and women sports center. The Democrats are against farmers. Can you believe it? So anyway, they're defective. I came up with a new name. I don't know if I should.
I know which one it is.
Democrats. Because they're dumb. They're dumb. It's D-U-M. I got rid of the B. So you're only changing one letter, right? E goes and the U comes. It's a Democrat.
You know, you take up more space in people's heads than any one person on the face of this earth, right? You live rent-free.
I was talking about a guy, Hakeem Jeffries. He's a very low IQ individual. And I talked about him. I said, he's a dumb guy. He's a Democrat. And I said, oh, what a great name that is. So
let me ask you this. The issue, and you've been asked about it, and you've spoken about it, and that is China's support of Iran. How big a discussion was that today?
We discussed it. I mean, when you say support, they're not fighting a war with us or anything.
No.
He said he's not going to give military equipment. That's a big statement. He said that today. That's a big statement. He said that strongly. But at the same time, he said, you know, they buy a lot of their oil there, and they'd like to keep doing that. He'd like to see Hormuz Strait opened. I said, well, we didn't.
All right, so just want to let you know, Brett Baer is about to do his interview as well, but since the television is live, the interview isn't live. When he starts, I will cut from this interview to that one going on right now, since it's happening. If it's hopefully it's not the same question, so we'll see.
Stop it. They did it, then we stopped them. You know, sort of interesting. He joked. He said, you know, it's sort of, they stopped it, then you stopped them, but they'd like to see it opened. But they actually closed it. He didn't like the fact that they're charging tolls. I don't know if they are or not. I don't know who would pay them. I mean, where do they put the money? The country's decimated. You know, they're charging tolls. Where's the money going?
Do you think President Xi and China have the ability to influence the Iranians, considering they are one of their biggest
probably,
customers?
But look, he's not coming in with guns. He's not coming in with rifles. They're not coming in shooting. You know, somebody said he's been very good. They get a lot of their oil, 40% of their oil from that location. So what has happened, and one thing I think that we're going to make a deal on, they've agreed they want to buy oil from the United States. They're going to go to Texas. We're going to start sending Chinese ships to Texas and to Louisiana and to Alaska. And I think that was another thing that was agreed to. That's a big thing.
What about liquefied natural gas?
It's not that much longer.
Gas too?
Yeah, everything. Energy.
Energy.
That's the one thing. They really need energy. That's the one thing. They have an insatiable appetite for energy, and we have unlimited energy. Do you know, we've now under me, but we now produce more than if you combine.
Okay, so I'm going to cut to the Brett Baer interview. When they go on commercial, we'll come back here.
As you get ready to head back to Washington, what's the most significant, specific thing you walk away from here for the U.S.?
I think the most important thing is relationship. It's all about relationship. I have a very good relationship with President Xi and with China. And it sounds like something that doesn't mean anything, but it's everything. In deal making and problems we've solved, the two of us have solved a lot of problems that somebody else would have maybe done very badly with. We've solved a lot of problems over the years. We have a very good relationship. Trade has been very strong. We're getting a lot of soybeans for our farmers. We're doing a lot of, there's a lot of things happening for the farmers. He committed to 200 Boeings, big ones, 777s and 737s, and a lot of big ones, big, beautiful Boeing planes, 200, that's a lot. With a commitment that if they do a good job, and I told this to Boeing and General Electric, we're going to go to the General Electric engines, which are great. If they do a good job, we could go up to 750.
And that's obviously a lot of investment going back and forth. You know, some Democrats, even some Republicans, had some concerns about Chinese manufacturing on U.S. soil. Is that happening?
Well, if they don't want to pay tariffs, it could happen, just like it's happening with other countries and companies. We have now more money being invested in the United States than any country at any time in the history of the world, including China, which probably is second from about 10 years ago. We have $18 trillion in 11 months, not the 12th month hasn't come in yet, the numbers. We have $18 trillion. If China wants to come in and wants to avoid tariffs, if they build here, for the most part, they're going to be hiring American people. If they want to avoid tariffs, they're going to build in the United States.
Despite concerns about China operating inside the U.S.
Look, we have Japan is building massive, Toyota, Honda, all of them. I mean, they're building massive plants all over the country. So if China wants to build for their cars, now, I will tell you, I put 100% tariff on Chinese cars because I didn't want them coming into the country. If you take a look, only because they swamp you, they'll destroy your auto industry, and that's what's happening in Europe. And now they're saying we have to do a little bit like Donald Trump. Europe is being killed. They're being absolutely swamped by hundreds of thousands, millions of Chinese cars, and Mercedes and BMW and Volkswagen. They're getting killed. So if you notice, we haven't had that problem. You know why? Because I have 100% tariff on cars made in China.
And even though the Supreme Court ruling, you're going to still continue that tariff?
The ruling was just on a specific type of tariff.
And you're going a different route?
Correct. I have the right to do the same tariff in, frankly, a little bit more complex way, but it's actually a better tariff. It's a more stringent tariff.
I want to ask you about Iran and AI, but China made clear that Taiwan is very important to them. And after your first meeting here, President Xi's spokesman put out a statement to the media, through the media, saying this: the Taiwan question is the most important issue in China-U.S. relations. If it is handled properly, the bilateral relationship will enjoy overall stability. Otherwise, the two countries will have clashes and even conflicts, putting the entire relationship in great jeopardy. You were still inside the meeting when that came out. That sounded almost like a threat. Was it communicated that way behind closed doors?
No, it wasn't, not at all. But it has always been their most important issue. And it's not a takeover. They just don't want to see this place, we'll call it a place because nobody knows how to define it, but they don't want to see it go independent. They don't want to do it. And I think they probably would do something pretty harsh, and then they would be met harshly, and bad things will happen. No, it's not that. We talked, by the way, last night, we talked the whole night about that issue. I think I know more about Taiwan right now than I know about almost any country.
You think it dominated the talk?
It's always been his most important thing from the day I knew him years ago. I've known him now 11 years, 12 years. It's always been the biggest thing for him, Taiwan. Now, with me, I don't think they'll do anything when I'm here. When I'm not here, I think they might, to be honest with you. But I'm not sure that they do anything if it remained as is. But they have somebody there now that wants to go independent. Well, it's a risky thing when you go independent. They're going independent because they want to get into a war, and they figure they have the United States behind them. I'd like to see it stay the way it is. And I'll tell you something. I'll make a little news. I'd like to see everybody making chips over in Taiwan come into America, because to be honest with you, I think it's the greatest thing you can do, because it's a heated situation. There's no question about it. And as you know, we have massive amounts of chip companies now from Taiwan already coming in. We expect to have 40 to 50% of the world chip business by the end of my term. And I think it should be even more than that. I think all of those chip companies, if they're smart, they're going to start heading to Arizona and the places where they're building. That's going to solve your problem.
Should the people of Taiwan feel more or less secure after your meetings with President Xi?
Neutral.
Has the policy changed at all?
No, nothing's changed.
U.S. policy?
No, nothing's changed. I will say this. I'm not looking to have somebody go independent and, we're supposed to travel 9,500 miles to fight a war. I'm not looking for that. I want them to cool down. I want China to cool down.
But you're waiting on approving billions of dollars of weapons for Taiwan.
That's right.
Is that moving forward?
Well, I haven't approved it yet. We're going to see what happens.
What are you looking for?
I may do it. I may not do it.
Yeah. What's your hinge point?
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I may do it. I may not do it. But we're not looking to have wars. And if you kept it the way it is, I think China's going to be okay with that. But we're not looking to have somebody say, let's go independent because the United States is backing us.
So President Xi probably liked that you haven't approved the weapons to Taiwan.
I would say like is maybe too strong a word, because he thinks I could do it with just the signing of my signature, unlike Biden, who couldn't sign his signature. No, I'm holding that in abeyance, and it depends on China. It depends. It's a very good negotiating chip for us, frankly. It's a lot of weapons. It's $12 billion. It's a lot of weapons. But, when you look at the odds, China's a very, very powerful, big country. That's a very small island. It's, you think of it, it's 59 miles away, 59 miles. We're 9,500 miles away. That's a little bit of a difficult problem. With all of that being said, if you look at the history of Taiwan, Taiwan was developed because we had presidents that didn't know what the hell they were doing. Because if they would have put tariffs on chips coming in, they would have never left. Everything was about Intel, and everything was about our chip companies. They stole our chip industry. So I've said that for years. I said, for years they stole our chip. If we would have had one of our presidents just say, we're going to say We're going to put 100% chip. You can leave, you can build in Taiwan, but you sell it back into the United States. We're going to put 100% or 200% tariff. We would have never lost a chip. We lost the chip industry. It's all coming back. And I do say this. Taiwan would be very smart to cool it a little bit. China would be very smart to cool it a little bit. They ought to both cool it.
On AI, was there any agreement about any kind of guardrails that China and the U.S. might agree to so that AI doesn't go crazy and
Well,
take
we
over
talked
the world?
about it. Yeah, we talked about it. Look, AI is mostly a great thing. Mostly. And we're leading China. We talked about that. We're leading China by a lot. I gave the right for AI to build their own electric producing plants. That's a big deal. They can manufacture their own electricity now, which we could never have gotten from the grid. And now you have these very rich companies headed by lots of geniuses building electric plants. Because of that, we are leading China by a lot in the AI race. Now, it's mostly the two of us. Other nations are in it, but mostly. And whoever wins the AI race, and we're going to win it. I mean, if we're smart, we're going to win it. If we're not smart, we're not. But we're leading by a lot. We talked about that last night. President Xi was very surprised at how well we've done with AI, because they thought, when it started, they took this gigantic lead. And we now we are substantially ahead of them in AI.
But do you think there'll be some buy-in, set up guardrails or something?
I think there could be. We talked about it. But, at the same time, we're competing. So it's a little hard to say, oh, gee, we're competing with each other and we're going to put guardrails. It really doesn't work that way too much. But AI, if you look at medicine, some of the things they're coming up with medicine, some of the cures they're coming up with that people would have never gotten there, it's going to be mostly a good thing, but we want to have some guardrails.
You said that the President Xi said he would offer assistance on Iran, and specifically...
I also said we don't need assistance.
You didn't ask for it. You said he was offering it, specifically to open the Strait of Hormuz. What do you think he will do?
I think he's been very nice about it. He gets 40% of his oil there. He didn't send anybody. He didn't send ships. He didn't send ships with big fat guns on them that we would have had to repel. We would have. The good thing is I built, during my first 4 years, the most powerful military in the world. We have the most powerful military in the world. That was shown in Venezuela, which took 1 day. Actually took 48 hours. I mean, it took, let's see, about 48 minutes. I think it was 48 minutes and 13 seconds, and it was over. And it's a strong country with a strong military, but it went very quickly. And now, by the way, we have made a fortune with their oil, and so have they. They've made more money in the last 8 months than they've made in the last 10 years, and we're really participating in the profit.
Venezuela, but obviously Iran is
it's a different kind of a thing. Yeah. But we're doing probably almost as well as I don't know how you can do better. They have no navy. They have no Air Force. It's all destroyed. Their Air Force is destroyed.
But yet they're talking a big game. They're talking a big game. Iran's foreign minister said the Strait is open to commercial shipping only if they cooperate with the Iranians.
They're not talking a big game. You know who's talking a big game? The fake news media. If you read the New York Times, you would think that we're losing militarily. Think of it. They have 159 ships. Every one is now in the bottom of the sea. Every one of them is gone. They had mine droppers. They call them mine droppers. Nice thing. Who has 22 mine droppers? The mine droppers are all gone. Now they have what they call fast boats. You know what they are? Runabouts, like you'd buy for your fantastic son if you wanted to buy him a nice boat, and they put a machine gun on it, okay? Most of them are knocked out. We knock them out just like we knock out the drug dealers.
You like to talk about cards. It seems like they're playing with a bad deck, to your point.
They have no deck.
But they're still playing.
No, the only thing they have going is a fake press. They know how well we're doing militarily. And then at the request of a very nice group of people from Pakistan who are very close to Iran, I didn't go that final. They said, could you stop? We're going to make a deal. And we really had the confines of a deal. No nuclear. They were going to give us the dust, nuclear dust, everything we wanted. And every time they make a deal, the next day it's like, we didn't have that conversation. And that's taken place about 5 times. There's something wrong with them. Actually, they're crazy. And you know what? Because of that, they cannot have a nuclear weapon. Because
the president of China agrees with you on that. And
he agrees with me on that. He agrees with me that he wants to see it end. He'd like to see it end. He would like to help. If he wants help, that's great. But we don't need help. And you know the problem with help? When somebody helps you, they always want something on the other side. That's the way help works.
Hard to believe, but it was 1 year ago today in UAE, interviewed you, and I asked you about Iran. How do you get to a solution there?
Oh, we'll get 100%.
You think so?
Well, we're going to have a solution one way or the other. It's either going to be violent or not violent. And I far prefer nonviolent. Sure.
Obviously, you've
By the way,
explained.
perfect answer.
You've explained why you did what you did because of the nuclear threat for Iran.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you know,
it's
obviously not Venezuela. It's different.
Well, it's different, but
you did say it was going to be fairly quick. I mean, you said it numerous times.
Venezuela was sending drugs in at a level that was terrible, and they did something that was a terrible, mortal sin. They emptied their prisons into our country. Okay, that was terrible, and that was different. This one is, I guess you could say, worse. That was pretty bad. You don't get much worse. Emptying your prisons, drug dealers, murderers into our country, that's pretty bad. But you could say this is worse. In this one, they are trying to make a nuclear weapon. I've stopped it twice. They would have had it 2 years ago. They would have used it already on Israel and the rest of the Middle East. Look at all the missiles shot at people that didn't think they were even involved. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, look at all. I mean, Bahrain, Kuwait, they got all shot at. Nobody thought they were even involved in this thing. They would have used a nuclear weapon on the Middle East. One thing I'll make clear right now, they said very specifically, because I deal with them, I said, we're taking the nuclear dust. They said, you can have it. I said, we're going to go get it. We're not going to let you take it. They said, we can't take it. We don't have the capability of taking it. I said, why? I said, because it was hit so hard. I mean, the mountain literally collapsed on it, a granite mountain.
So why isn't that good
Just
enough?
so you know. Well,
I mean, if your goal was to set back.
It is good enough, but you know what? It's not good enough public relations-wise. It's important, it's important. It's probably good enough for a different reason, though. Space Force, which I created, has got cameras, 9 different cameras in space on that site. We know everybody that moves there. We can read the name of a person. We can read if his name is Mohammed something, and most of them are Mohammed, you can guess, about 50% right. We can read his name right on his tag from space. It's the most amazing thing. Anybody that goes near that space, we have it tagged. They haven't done anything there. And if they did, we would hit them very hard. So 2 days ago, in speaking to the Iranians, they told me it was hit so hard. They actually said, I must say, that there's only 2 countries that could get it, us and China.
Right.
They said us and China, that they don't have the capability of getting it because it was so obliterated. The term I used was obliterated. The fake news said, oh, maybe somebody can get it. They actually said if they wanted to get it, they couldn't. So that's not good enough for me. I want to get it.
So why are we where we are? Did you underestimate the pain tolerance that Iran has?
I didn't underestimate anything. We hit them unbelievably hard. Look, we left their bridges. We left their electricity capacity. We can knock that all out in 2 days. 2 days, everything. We left Cargill, and other than, I said, hit it except for the valves where the oil comes out. Because when you hit that means you're going to lose a little oil. But one thing is happening, amazingly. Ships are floating up to Texas and Louisiana, and they're going to Alaska, and they're loading up with oil like we've never seen before.
Americans want to know when it's over, though, right?
Yeah, look, Vietnam lasted 19 years. Iraq was like 10 years. Korea was 7 years. Another one was 14 years. Another one was 12 years. Another one was 9 years. We're in there for 2.5 months. The other thing they talk about, so we lost tens of thousands of soldiers in Vietnam. We lost tens of thousands of soldiers in practically every war. I've lost, and I wish we'd lost none, because I know those parents. I spoke to them. We lost 13 soldiers in 2 wars.
China got 3 tankers out this week filled with Iranian oil.
Because we allowed that to happen.
You did?
we let that happen.
Before this trip. Gas prices in America are still high, painfully high.
They're going to drop like a rock as soon
once
as
it's
this
over.
Yeah, they'll
Painfully
drop like
high, though, now, and could be creeping higher
lower than
before
Biden,
it's done.
Excuse me, lower than Biden, and much lower than people thought they'd be.
This inflation number is going up. You're right. It's much lower than President Biden's was, but it's going up under you. The numbers are. You can imagine Democrats and political pundits jumped all over this statement that you made the other day. You were asked when you were leaving.
What extent are American financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
That's right. That's a perfect statement. I'd make it again.
You can imagine how many people stop the soundbite I don't think about America's financial situation. So what's your response to that framework?
It's very simple. When people hear me say it, everybody agrees. Short-term pain. It's going to be short-term pain. But the pain is much less than people thought. Because people thought that the oil would go up to $250. You know, it was $99 yesterday, $99 a barrel. I thought it might go up to $200. I was okay with that. Not that I wanted it, but you cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. They will use it on us. They'll start off with Israel, wipe it out. The Middle East, wipe it out. It'll go to Europe. You know, they have a missile that goes to Europe. You saw that, okay? They have a missile that goes to Europe. I have done Europe a very big favor. When you tell somebody you're going to have to pay a little more, not that much more, a little more for gasoline for a very short period of time, because we want to stop the threat of being blown to pieces by a lunatic, by a crazy person, and they are crazy, using nuclear weapons. Everybody says that's fine. And that question was a fake question, and they didn't put my full answer. I totally care. Look, I inherited high prices, and they came in with the word affordability. My first press conference, 2 days in, and Biden didn't do press conferences. He'd go for years without doing, because he was incapable of doing it. He was an incompetent person. But my first question was about eggs. Eggs have quadrupled. What are you going to do? I said, eggs? Tell me about eggs. Tell me about the problem. Eggs have gone up 4 times. He said, I'll take care of it. By the way, I did take care of it. But they came up with a word, because they are good. They're rotten with policy. They're horrible politicians. In many cases, we have a new name. They're Democrats. I call them Democrats. Not Democrats, they're Democrats. A lot of low IQ people. You have Ilhan Omar saying World War XI. She said she was referring to World War II. She said World War XI. These people are destroying our country, and we have to stop. And you know, President Xi said something yesterday. He talked about, and he wasn't referring to the last 15 months, he talked about America's a nation in decline. And I said, you're right. But he wasn't talking about, because he said, what you've done in 14, 15 months is a miracle.
When you hear Trump voters, Alex says, I voted for you 3 times. He can't handle the costs. And he's not for this foreign conflict.
I hate it, Brett.
He's not for the foreign conflict. But Roy in Pennsylvania, he's a retired farmer. He can't handle the fuel going up. And he says he's
going to come down very fast. And well, look, disappointed.
I'm just telling you what
when
they
you say to him, Roy, Alex, we got a problem. We just hit the highest stock market price ever. By the way, then, when I went in. Now, again,
it's higher.
With the war, it's higher than it was when I went in. Think of that.
I agree.
The 401ks at their all-time high. There are more people working right now in the United States of America than at any point ever in the history of our country.
Detroit Free Press, a state that you won. While champagne flowed on the trading floor and President Donald Trump celebrated record highs, pessimism spread like wildfire outside Wall Street's doors, straight into the kitchens of average American families. There is this sense that, you know, something is changing. Whether they can hold on and believe that you're going to get them to know.
Brett, I have to do what's right. I said to my people, we just hit 50,000 on the Dow. That wasn't supposed to happen for 5 or 6 years. I did it in my first year. We just hit 7,000 on the S&P. That wasn't supposed. That was even less of a chance than the Dow. It was just announced 401ks are at their all-time highest that they've ever been. all these things happened, and I said, I'm sorry to do this to you, but we have to stop this group of very crazy people. Now, those people are gone. They've been eliminated. The second group has been eliminated, and some of the third group. In a way, we've eliminated so many leaders that it's almost, I'm trying to figure out who the hell are we dealing with, all right?
Who are you dealing with?
But, well, we're dealing with people that I think are right, but they're afraid to make a deal. They don't know how to make a deal. They've never been put in this position before.
So you're going to hold out until they do?
Well, I'm going to do what's right. I have to do what's right.
But the strait should be open, right?
It should be open. Look, see, to stop the strait is very easy. All they have to do is say, we dropped a mine in the strait someplace. You know, so you're at a little disadvantage, but that's okay. The strait will be open. They will not have a nuclear weapon, and the world will go on, and you will see gasoline prices drop, energy prices generally drop like no. Don't forget, they have a lot of boats that are loaded up with oil that are going to bring the oil out as soon as this is over, and I think it's going to end fast. They've been holding up the world for many, many years with the strait. You know, they've used this many, many times. They said, we'll close the strait. They've closed it in the past. They use it as a weapon. They're not using it as a weapon with me. And what they did, and actually what President Xi said last night, sort of smiling about it, he said, well, they closed the strait and then you close them.
But you think they're going to capitulate sometime soon?
Yeah, oh, sure.
Okay.
I have no doubt.
Mr. President, stand by if you would. Special report from Beijing with the President of the United States continues after this.
All right. So a big thing he said, as President Trump is playing some serious poker here, Taiwan, you're in trouble. I just want to let you know you're on the clock right now. I just wonder if Taiwan was traded for Cuba, because if I was in Taiwan right now and I heard, as President Trump was saying, it's like, yeah, they're 9,500 miles away and we can't do these kind of things. We're going to have to take care of stuff here. It might be a little frightening if you're in Taiwan. Might exactly be the death knell for what China wants to do. And I don't know. I know the Democrats once again will freak out when they hear that, because it sounds like Taiwan is basically on the clock. SB, did you garner that too? Did you think that as you heard that Taiwan might be in a little bit of trouble?
Yeah, I mean, he's playing chess on a level I don't think I've ever seen anyone play chess. And, you know, metaphorically speaking, of course, but he's so relaxed when he does it too. And then like the Democrats are always like years behind. And then when they see it, they're like, oh God, Epstein.
You know what? Trump reminds me of Neo in the movie The Matrix, because he just as Brett's trying to throw out these questions like Hannity was, and just boom, 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 just blocking everything that they're trying to throw out at him, which, you know, it is what it is. That's why he is who he is in terms of how he handles it. And it's why the Democrats hate him, because they can't, they've tried to lay a glove on him, but they don't seem to be able to right now. And I mean, I firmly believe we are watching the reset of the entire global quote stage. I think we're going to see some different things. It's obvious at this point he winked and said, yeah, okay, you want to take Tehran, we're going to take Cuba. It happened too fast. I mean, watch what happens over the next 24 to 48 hours. I'm not going to have time to get to the Cuba story today because he's still doing this interview. But watch what happens with Cuba, how fast it's going to transpire.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's the next thing. Well, the thing with the chips, that makes a lot of sense, because China really holds all the cards on that right now with all the precious metals. That's why, and I'm sure we're going to hear about like Greenland again, because you know, remember how I brought that up with you a year or so ago? That's still on the table. I mean, the precious metals, who has control of a lot of that? And in Venezuela, there's a lot of precious metals down there. So Trump's always thinking way outside the box, and I love it, because he's making our country great again, and so many aspects. But yeah, the chips to have, I think he said something 30 to 40% of the companies he wants to have here in the U.S. before the end of his term. That's a major accomplishment. I mean,
And also with how much he, again, the whole movie aspect of things, how he alludes to it, I don't think he cares this much about where the midterms are falling in terms of how they're going to fall, because he knows he's got X amount of months to do these things. I think we're going to see some big things happening very quickly. All kinds of different things falling in place, with everything with Cuba. After Cuba, after they get Cuba sorted out, then I think we're going to start seeing now with Tina Peters. Everything just seems to be coincidental. So next thing after Cuba will be the election stuff. One of the things that nobody in the press, they never asked the question is, was China involved in the 2020 election? You got Maduro here. Venezuela's being looked at. All kinds of data is being pulled out. We don't have any idea what they're looking at in regards to that as well, in terms of the 2020. Which, can you imagine?
Yeah, and then meanwhile, what do the liberals have? I mean, I saw that video that Kamala. I mean, by the way, has she had some nose work? Her nose looks like it's like Michael Jackson. Something's going on, but yeah, they're talking about get all the bad ideas. I mean, she may be the front runner again. I mean, I hope so, because that would be another clown show, right?
Her and AOC could run together. That would be a great one. Absolutely. Here, they're coming back with the second part of this, I think. Yeah.
Welcome back to Beijing and our conversation with the President of the United States. Mr. President, you pushed redistricting, and after some really big wins in courts, including the Supreme Court, contested districts are now tilting to Republicans. It looks like they've picked up a number of seats, at least on paper. Do you think that makes the difference in holding the House?
Well, it helps. I mean, I don't know the difference. I think I think a bigger difference would be if I win quickly as opposed to after. But again, I'm not going to let the election determine what's going to happen with respect to Iran, because they cannot have a nuclear weapon. Okay. But a bigger difference would be if that price went down. Look, prices are down, but the energy caused it to go up. And I said to my people, I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to screw up your numbers for a little while, because we have to stop the nuclear weapon stuff with Iran, because they're nuts. They're sick people. Even if they weren't sick, you wouldn't want it to happen, but they're crazy. We're going to take a little curve. We're going to diverge down the pike, and we're going to hit them, and we're going to stop them. And essentially, we have really put them on hold. We'll do it as quickly as we can. I call it a little pain. Look, I agree. The oil goes up, but it's going to come down lower than it was. It'll be down lower than it was. Now, speed. I hate to talk about speed.
I understand.
Because I don't like putting pressure on all of the people. I want to do the job right. If it takes an extra 4 weeks, but think of it. We're in Vietnam for 19 years. I'm here. I'm doing this for two and a half months.
There are people on one side that say, well, let's go again. Let's finish the job. Let's keep going.
I have
There's
two
the
sides.
people on the other side say, let's get out. And
all good people.
November, which is coming. The approval's upside down.
I think
you're not on the ballot, but do you think that this war and this moment is going to affect your ability to hold the House and Senate?
So yesterday they had 18 elections. I won all 18. Everybody I endorsed won. 2 weeks ago, in a very big event, Indiana had like 8 people that had never lost an election. Some were in for 25 years. They had a 40-point lead. But they didn't want to give some additional people in Congress. Very simple.
Redistricting.
And I said, you know what? If they don't want to redistrict, they're not for us. And I ran candidates that nobody ever heard of, but good people. And everyone won, other than one, because 2 or 3 people ran. Actually, it was very smart. But I won every one of them. CNN did a poll recently that said I'm 100% approval in the Republican Party with MAGA, which is most of the Republican Party. So I think it's almost all of it now, actually. I'm at 100%. And Harry, whatever his name is,
Enden.
Nice guy, Harry Enden, was jumping up and down.
But you
saying
think you're
he's
going to
never
win the
seen that.
midterms?
I don't know. I can't tell you because a couple of factors. They got to pass the Save America Act. I really believe that's important because the Democrats cheat. This will keep them from cheating. It'll make it much harder for them to cheat. Without cheating, they can't win.
They say they
because
don't
they
have
have
the
things like open borders where criminals can pour into your country. Men playing in women's sports so ridiculous. These are 98% issues. You know, the fake news says, oh, these are 80-20. They're not 80-20. Transgender mutilation of your child. These are the things that they support. So the one negative, and nobody can explain it, every president, Republican or Democrat, who wins the election, even if you win by a lot. I won in a landslide. I won every swing state. Even if you win a lot, and even if you do a good job, and everyone says, look, we have the highest stock market price ever, all of the things that I went over before,
Right.
We have the best employment in the history of our country. But even if you have a good president who's done a good job, they always lose the midterms.
On Cuba, you said Cuba is hurting and ready to make a deal. The CIA director was there Thursday. China's been active there. They've had a deal with Cuba about renewable energy project.
They're not there anymore.
92 solar farms.
Well, they're not there anymore.
So is Cuba going to turn to us and make a deal?
I think so. I mean, look, I've been hearing about Cuba since I'm a little boy. They've been saying, what's going on with Cuba? And I think we'll be turning it. Marco's been very effective, and the whole group has been very effective. It's, I think they're going to have to come to us. It's a failed nation. It's a totally failed nation.
And they're taking the aid now.
Yeah, they're taking the aid. They want aid. They need help. They need help. I think about all those Cubans, 94% voted for me, the ones that were thrown out, families were killed.
Exiled.
Very violent. And they're living in our country right now. And I have never seen people happier than them. They said, this is what we voted for. I think about those people. Maybe I think about them first. But I think about the people in Cuba. And you know, the people living here, they want to go back and they want to invest in Cuba. They want to bring Cuba back, et cetera, et cetera. It's a good thing. We're going to give them that option.
Let me end with this. Back here in China, any talk about human rights? There was some hope that you were going to get Jimmy Lai on the plane to Air Force One.
I talked about it. I talked about it at length. I talked about Jimmy Lai, and I talked about two other people that...
The pastors, the religious folks?
I talked about the pastor.
How was it received?
You know, I have gotten hundreds of people out of different situations. Pastor Brunson was a big deal. You remember Pastor Brunson? He was in Turkey. 35-year term. I got him out. I called President Erdogan and got him out. I've gotten hundreds of people out.
This pastor.
And by the way, I don't pay a lot of money. I don't pay any money like Biden, where they give $6 billion all the time to get people out. I brought him up yesterday.
How is that received?
It's under consideration. I will say that I brought up Jimmy Lai, and I would say the response to that was not positive. He said that he's been, said it's been sort of his worst nightmare. It was,
opposition.
He went through a whole thing, and I said, well, would appreciate if you would release him. He's gotten old, and he's probably not feeling too well. It would be nice. And I did not feel optimistic. I have to be honest with you about that one. I did feel optimistic about the second one. That's now under consideration. The pastor. Very optimistic, actually.
Yeah.
And I put him down. I made a point of it. I mentioned Jimmy Lai again, second time. And I'd like to tell you that I'll be flying him back on Air Force One, but I won't be doing that. The other one, I think, will maybe get very strong consideration.
But as you do fly back on Air Force One, you feel like this was a success.
Fantastic success. The relationship, look, with two very powerful countries, I call it the G2. There's nobody comes close. We are more powerful than China. We were heading in the wrong direction. We were going to be a failed nation. We were doubling our welfare, and nobody was investing here. We have $18 trillion coming in. I mean, I was congratulated by President Xi in front of both groups for, he said, I've never seen anything like it. I like him, he likes me. That's a good thing. You know, you have two very powerful nuclear nations, and having good relations at the top is very important. We've known each other for 11 years now. You know, we've been dealing with each other for a long time.
And you'll have him to the White House in September.
He's going to be coming in September or November, I don't know, sometime, but I think they've set a date, September 24th, something like that. And it'll be an honor. We're going to do a fantastic job, just like they did here. People that study this said there has never been a celebration like they had over the last 2 years in China with a foreign leader coming in. There's never been anything like it. He went all out, from the children to the military. What a beautiful group of military that was. But there's never been, and last night's event was incredible, actually.
Well, Mr. President, we appreciate the time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll send it back.
All right, so that was very, very interesting, to say the least. I think we're gonna see some big things happening very shortly here. It looks like, well, it doesn't look like, President Trump did just land, and he came in and didn't take any questions, but this was President Trump coming off of Air Force One. So we should like put up a poll, or not a survey, but what do you call those things where like like they pick football games? President Trump just flew 16 hours, spent a couple days in China, and just flew back 16 hours. He's got to be exhausted. I'm sure he's just going to go back to the White House, lay down, and go to sleep for a day or two. I think he's just got to like, hi Melania, how you doing? I'm just going to take a rest, rub my feet. Nah, I think this guy is going to get recharged overnight, and tomorrow, who knows what's coming. SV, what are you betting on that? You think he's just going to take a rest, or you think he's going to?
Are you kidding me? I think I saw him running down the street.
Oh, man.
I thought I had a lot of energy, but that man is running circles around me, and he's almost 80 years old.
80 years old, and he looks eager to get on that helicopter. I mean, he just, ooh, let's go. I got stuff to do. I got a world to run. I got people to blow up, all kinds of different things. But you
just had a good segue for my next quick story. So one of the things I like to read when I'm having my coffee in the morning is I like these stories. So I was reading that the U.S. Coast Guard aboard the Tahoma seized nearly 6,085 pounds of cocaine worth an estimated $45.8 million after intercepting 3 vessels off the coast of Colombia. Wow. They said that I was watching the video where they had the machine gun on the helicopter, and they were shooting ahead of them, and like they wouldn't stop. So eventually they zoomed in, they shot the engines, and they forced them. They actually threw life preservers to apprehend the 9 drug smugglers, and then they quickly turned those boats into an artificial reef at the bottom of the sea. I love these videos. You can't show it. Obviously, you cannot show that. But
you know what's funny? I wanted like people who do compilation videos. Like, can somebody get a compilation video and put it to like great. Apocalypse Now music of all these?
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
And just blow it up. Now, I don't know if I listen very closely to what he says and how he says it. And it went by Brett Baer like it didn't even register. He had to get to his next question. And he said, Brett Baer said to him, well, China has a presence in Cuba. Did you hear what his answer was? They used to.
Yeah, I was gonna say not for long. Not for long.
He said because I wrote it down. He goes, not anymore.
Yeah.
And then Brett kept talking, and he's like,
next question.
Not anymore. He was trying to let her know, no, they're done. Cuba. And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, Cuba's done. It's all over. He just admitted, not anymore. It's absolutely done. So it's crazy.
This is the execution of the Don Rowe Doctrine. Anybody needs to know what it is, you can look at Barry's old videos. He talks about it.
I mean, I you know what? It's funny. Do I have it in here? Yeah. Hold on. I keep it in here because people have always asked me how to. Where is it? It's this one. Hold on. Something happened yesterday.
The Monroe Doctrine was a foreign policy statement delivered by President James Monroe.
Volume.
Yeah, it's simply amazing. That's why I keep it right there, just in case
That's
we
perfect.
ever have to look at it again. Because
That's awesome.
Yeah,
a lot of people like that. Yeah, you clipped it. Many people viewed it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I got some housekeeping before I do super chats. Want to let you know. A while back, I gave away a fishing trip for different people. One group of people already came, and the second group that wants to go out, they're coming. They just checked into the hotel, and Robin's going to take them out fishing tomorrow morning. So we should have some pretty cool pictures of some people in the Fanfare family going out there, going fishing. I hope they don't get sick like the last.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope they're not landlubbers, because that last trip, they lasted about, 15 minutes?
It was funny because when Ashley contacted them, she said, "Oh, they're coming down from the upstate by Panama, Florida." I'm like, "Good, so they're around the ocean." She's like, "No, they were visiting people in Panama, up in Panama City, up in that area in the Panhandle. They're actually from Ohio." And I went, "Oh no,
oh
no!"
Get the Dramamine in the barf bags.
So Robin hit him up today and go downstairs and take some Dramamine now and hydrate, because I don't even know how hot it was here today, but my sister's coming down from Connecticut and it was 58 in Connecticut, and I told him, that's not, you're going to be out, and these people tomorrow will be out there in the hot sun. What's
it's going to be warming up here finally the next few days. So we're talking 80s into maybe 90. I'm like, about time.
No,
it's been
down
a
here,
weird spring up here.
Down here, it's been 95 in the shade, and then you get out there on the water. Oh boy, it gets very. Last weekend we were down there for the air show. It was absolutely just hot as you can imagine. So I can't imagine somebody coming from Ohio who's not used to it. So, but I'm praying it. The weather looks like it's going to be fine. Now it's just a matter of, are they gonna be able to take care of the motion of the ocean? So we'll take some pictures, and hopefully if he turns green or the wife turns green, we will not be taking pictures.
Yeah. We'll cut to the dinner that you're going to give to them.
Well, it's funny. Last time the other couple came, he got sick. And I said, just go home, turn on the air conditioning, turn on the ceiling fans in the hotel, do whatever you need to do, get some water, and then come to dinner. And we took him to a seafood restaurant.
Oh, perfect.
He was like, okay, we're good. So, all right. Thank you, SB, for everything. Let me do super chats.
Had a great evening, Barry.
Thank you. You. Oh, by the way.
Yes.
I went to go play poker last night.
And steak knives or nothing?
And I missed the check-in for the tournament. And I'm like, I got to go play with these people. Then I had to go play in the onesie twosies. And within the first 4 hands. They had to call the floor 3 times. People were splashing the pot, doing all kinds of stupid stuff. And I'm like, well, I blew $100. They took my money.
What? You should have been cleaning that up, Barry. You like to slow play those huge hands.
Not with the whole onesie twosie thing. And let me tell you about the hand I got. I got pocket aces. I had the Rockets. And I'm like,
best hand in poker.
I'm good.
Starting.
Let's do this. Let's run. And then this lady put me all in, and she stayed in with a queen 7, and she hit a queen on the flop, and then she hit a 7 on the river.
Yeah, I mean, that's just variance. I mean, most of the time they're going to lose those. But you're right. In a 1-2 games, you have a lot of fish who, if they have any pair, they're not going to relinquish it, you know. Yeah. And that's how I made a lot of money when I was down there last time when I was in Port St. Lucie.
They just stay in because they're hoping they're hoping something happens. And I pushed in. I'm like, I got a pair of aces. She stayed in and hit. I'm like, there's no sense in what you just did. There's not.
There isn't.
No, but anyway.
Well, you'll do better next time because you definitely are a good player. You're a good player.
I hope so. I got to
have a great evening, Barry.
I got to get back into a tournament. You too, man. Have a good one.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Let me do super chats. Oh, I do have one more thing I want to show you because it's actually funny. SB sent this to me. Did I download it? Hold on. I have to download this video. It's absolutely hilarious. So you remember this lady? Everybody, do you remember this lady here?
Our democracy. This is a violation of the Constitution. It is. It's a violation of the Constitution. I'm out of order, but y'all are doing illegal.
Representative Persons Mullica has waived closed. The question now recurs on final passage of HB 1D. The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will proceed to vote. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? The clerk will lock the machine and announce the vote.
83 yeas, 28 nays, Mr. Speaker.
Show the bill passes. Read the next bill.
So if you remember that, this Democrat is showing her ass and yelling in a megaphone while they're trying to get business done. Okay, that might have worked then. Well, she done messed up big time. Governor Ron DeSantis has had ghetto Representative Angie Nixon arrested after she did an illegal sit-in at his office because of the 2026 House map that she was protesting in that other video that adds 4 GOP seats. She melted down and she FO'd. Florida is the best and DeSantis plays no games. You go to the governor's office and do a sit-in. And you don't think DeSantis don't play. I can't believe she was that stupid to go and try to sit in on the the governor's office, but she did. So bye. Only problem is that these people don't care. They have no sense of decency. They're being arrested means nothing to these people, and they're elected. That's what the worst part about it is. It makes you just want to throw up. And Anna, thank you. Peaceful Haven, our dear friends summon civil unions. They're some of the sweetest folks. One couple came to our aid when my sister had cancer, flew husband and son to Wisconsin to be with me for Christmas while I cared for her. Yes, exactly. That she's talking about a gay couple, which is the poll I had up earlier. Christopher, Barry, I have to agree with my spouse or she throws her shoes at me. Don't they all? My phone's not beeping, so maybe she's not watching. You're lucky it's just the shoes. Verkovsky, try living in socialism where God and such is forbidden. Correct. Micro Rod, TD is an authentic, great guy like you, Barry, who I watch every show. Also, 4 stars for both of you, husband. Thank you. Yeah, TD, I mean, we hit it off back when, the Dolphin days. And like I said, he's been doing it for years and years and years. And I have to give him a salute to that because you think Democrats and Republicans go at it? Whoa, you ain't seen nothing if you ain't been into a fan base. It gets crazy. Yeah, God is forbidden. Kiran, I'm conservative and my fiance is woke. Wow. But we both believe in God and love our country. Some things you work on and you just don't talk about too much. Very well. Very well. James, how about Canada? Screw Canada. And I don't mean that the people, I'm talking about the leadership. Mr. Mike, Barry, do you think that Trump's going to find a way out of Taiwan treaty since it's not in the Western Hemisphere? Yeah, I believe he just told us. I think he just told us, nah, I don't think Taiwan, we're not going to send you. Well, you'll know if he cancels the weapon shipment, then you know, and you see what happens with Cuba the next week or so. It'll be quick. Mr. Mike Beard, do you think that's what he just read? Nikki, how much you want to bet that Taiwan versus China was supposed to be the new Ukraine versus Russia from the deep state? You're probably right. Christopher, thank you. Thank you twice. Winners with win, losers complain. Exactly. And then Tania says they take Dramamine, they'll sleep the whole time. No, you should be able to take Dramamine and actually be active if you took it. But see, the thing is, I learned take it tonight, let it give time to get with your equilibrium and everything before you go out on the water. If they take it in the morning, too late. You'll get sick. Too late. All right. Wait a minute. I'm getting a text. Let me make sure SB doesn't want me to look at something. Or who's it from? Let's see here. It's Robin showing me a slipper. All right. See you guys tomorrow and have a great Friday evening.
great deals, we did great trade deals, we had great relationships, and a lot of things have happened, and you'll be hearing about them. But that was a tremendous success. I think it really was a historic moment. Thank you very much.